overall, I kind of dig it, but it could be.
Son, what are you watching there?
Well, Dad, it's Larry Arts Productions, home to many types of content, including stop motions, reviews, unboxings, and other types of videos.
I knew getting the internet for my kid was a mistake. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, the third race of the season. It's time for us to begin, and it's our second mile-and-a-half course. A little bit more traditional, though, as we're heading to Chicagoland Speedway for the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series. Season 4 has been spectacular on seeing some different winners. We had Daytona, where we got to see John Forbes winning his second Daytona of the ISRC career. Then last week, a first-time winner of Logan Brakey. Here tonight, the speeds are close, and drivers unsure of what we're going to be finding ourselves with here this evening. There is one thing that we're getting ourselves prepared for, and that is qualifying underway. Drivers got about 4 more minutes left in qualifying, some on their first lap. But man, we're excited to give you all the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me is Zach Hall. Zach, I know for myself, I'm still trying to recover from our Saturday event of the 24 Hours of Daytona. But man, how are you feeling as we get ourselves back to the swing of things here on Freaky Fast?
Yeah, I mean, it's good to be back, first of all, in the swing of things. You know, this is a great league here, and it always seems like Monday nights are that wild night to start off our week here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. And I tell you, Chicagoland, especially this track, I think is going to be a very, very interesting race in itself. But after last week's chaos in Kentucky and, the heartwarming story of Logan Brakey winning, I think tonight we could see even some more fireworks fly because, this track, like you said, you talked about the times being very, very close. Well, that's due to these drivers being able to run wide open for the first 1 to 2 laps. So I expect a big movement throughout the field early in these runs for drivers who are trying to get the most out of the race truck. But it's going to be definitely fun to watch here as these guys can look to put in the fastest time possible to start.
Fast times are starting to clock in. Danny Cochran's going to be the first to put in his third and final lap. Going to be faster than Ollie Fonseca as well as Cedric Hunter. And those were some drivers that were looking quick during practice. There's a few others who are expecting to try to challenge this two machine. As we're taking a look on screen, it's the 53. That's going to be Eric Stamp. Eric Stamp we've seen run well at mile-and-a-half courses. Hoping for a good qualifying run here this evening for that of the Armadillos Racing Team and his Colored Teal Graphics 53 and across the line for that of Eric Stamp. Going to be seeing how the 53 machine is going to do for tonight's event. That for himself, that final lap going to be 14th on the board. Still Danny Cochran topping himself as we got about 2 minutes and 5 seconds left in qualifying. Some drivers testing out coming into pit road. That's going to be something important to watch out for. But Zach, less than 2 minutes to go. We're starting to see some of the heavy hunters trying to top the board. Here comes last week's winner, Logan Brakey.
Yeah, see what he can do after that exciting first-time win here at this truck series. It's going to feel good here to come back after winning last week for him. So I think it's going to be interesting to see where he places himself on that board. But yeah, Danny Cochran already top of the board in the 2 machine. He was the winner here from season 2 and beat Trenton Jump by about 4/100ths of a second. So that race was very close, and I expect something similar here tonight as more times continue to click through with about a little less than 2 minutes to go. It's going to be very important to start up front. It always, when you get that really good track position to start off your race, it allows you the opportunity to save a little bit of tire. But I think it's going to be tough to save that tire with, like being said, wide open racing can create chaos when some drivers are trying to save and lift a little bit. So we're going to have to watch out for that as the field spreads out.
As the driver is going to finish out qualifying, less than a minute to go, as it's going to be Malik Kuntz that we see on screen in that 98, trying to get his first time to lap in, and he's got to be quick on it, rolling the top, trying to maximize the amount of speed to set up this final lap, and it's going to be just enough time for that 98 to put in at least one more lap. Same going to be said for that of Jesse Thornick, who's going to have one more lap. So those are going to be the 2 drivers to watch out for, as well as newcomer of that of Cody Smith, going to be seeing how this machine in the 7 could be trying to put in their time. And for that of Cody Smith, final lap, it's going to be 36th on the board. Going to be a long night for the newcomer in the 7, as that of Jesse Thornick, as well as Malik Kuntz. Here they come, rolling. They put down their final time, 10 seconds left, and for Jesse Thornick, he's going to be the first to cross the line, but here comes Malik, hoping to best the time. He was the slowest driver on that first lap, and that second going to boost them up to 16th, and Jesse Thornick only able to boost up to 33rd position. as qualifying is done. It's ready for us to check out where the drivers qualified this evening here at Chicagoland. Not a lot of movement after putting in their times in the first half of qualifying. Taking the top of the board, it's last season's champion in the 2 truck. It's Danny Cochran. Next to him is going to be Ollie Fonseca in the 24. Noah Steele is going to be bouncing to 3rd place. Nick Crawford in 4th. Teammate going to be from that of Snowy Desert Racing. Cedric Hunter going to be behind in 5th. 6 goes to the rookie of Joshua Kanata. Going to be also seen Blackjack driver, the 47 of John McAdams, and other Blackjack drivers joining the fray. And 8th is John Forbes. 9th of Cody Reed, and a strong qualifying performance from the 38 of Christopher Norris.
Followed in the 11th position, it's going to be Mark Morales in the 91 machine. Rookie Joshua Altice is going to start here in 12th. Last week's winner in 13th is going to be Logan Brakey. The 00 is going to start in the 14th position at Ethan Smith. 15th place is going to go to Joshua Freed. 16th is going to be Malik Kuntz, as 17th is going to be Mark Whitley with the unfortunate qualifying run there for him, usually qualifying near the front. 18th is going to be Tyler Dingler. 19th is going to go to the 99, Austin Halsey. And rounding out the top 20, it's Kyle Rochelle.
Then in the top 30, you got a big cluster of rookies, starting off with Barrick Uphold in the 17th and 21st position. 22nd going to be Zachary Peterson. That of Travis Everett, going to be in 23rd, with that of Trenton Jump of Season 2 champion going to be back in 24th position. 25th is going to be Stephen Baldwin, with that of Tyler Horn going to be in 26th. That of Robert Sherwood back in 27th. Eric Stamp 28th. 29th going to be that of Jonathan Smith, and that of Michael Sheffield going to be finishing out our top 30.
Justin Smith is going to start in the 31st position. 32nd is going to be Ryan Crowfoot. Jesse Thornton going to bring it home here in qualifying in 33rd. 34th is going to be the 5 of Dakota Moniz. 35th is going to be another rookie of Kyle B. Tate, with another rookie following in 36 of Jordan Schmeets. 37th is going to be GT Irizarry. 38th is going to be Cody Smith. 39th is Brian Fine, and rounding out our 40 trucks, it's Matt Upbrook, as we got a full almost field here tonight.
I mean, Zach, I think the drivers might have gotten the wrong code of how this is supposed to go traditionally. Usually you start Daytona off first race of the season with the most drivers. So far, the first race of the season's been the smallest field. We went from 35 last week. We had 39 tonight. 40 trucks going to be tackling Chicagoland. And Zach, I was here from the drivers during practice. They said 30 might be too many trucks. They might be scared of a lot of cautions. Well, let's add 10 to that. 40 tonight. Man, what are you expecting here as we're getting ready to go green?
Well, early here, it's going to be aggression level is to the top. I mean, we got to get to that lap 60 stage. These drivers are not going to be able to make that on fuel. So at some point, a pit stop will have to come in if we stay green flag. But with how wide open and how much grip is to these trucks, I expect some aggressive moves, some big movers, and maybe even some big wrecks. So we're going to have to watch out for that here early. But Danny Cochran trying to continue off where he left off in Season 2 here with a victory.
Going to be up front, Danny Cochran, Ollie Fonseca from Larson Line Racing. They are running some special schemes tonight, that of the purple and gold with a hint of black. They are running that of Laker colors in tribute of Kobe Bryant. And it's time to see how well can they run up front as a straight out of Chicagoland 225 presented by Morecast, as we're green, seeing the 2 and the 24 heading down into turn number 1. Let's see how aggressive they want to be on the exit of turn 2.
Already starting off, you got Danny Cochran able to pull a whole truck length ahead of that next row, but it's going to be Noah Steele. Last week, caught up in that major wreck with Danny Cochran and Cedric Hunter. He's in that 8 machine trying to continue the momentum he had there. After getting taken out in that race, he's going to try to make up for that here as he's trying to take second from Fonseca, who fights back on the top.
Stuck on the outside, Ollie Fonseca, but he finally gets a little bit of clearance. Great run out of the corner, but it's going to be Noah Steele blocking the 74 in 4 different lanes on how you want to attack the front stretch as they squeeze back to side-by-side action through the corners. But Zach already seen some aggression, and look out on the outside. Got a lot of runs, and that's the 25 of Cody Reed that tried to go up to that 3rd lane across that up against the outside wall.
Yeah, they said, why not second lap? Let's take it 3 wide. And Cody Reed once again in the 25 looking to make some moves here. Is all throughout the field, there's drivers trying to make that 3rd lane work. But just right now, it's just so much congestion on the racetrack that you cannot make too many major moves because it'll easily end up in a huge incident. Right now, you can see from Reed's on board, he's going for it.
He is really starting to set it on the outside, and drivers were talking about what were they expecting. Some were wondering if the whole entire field as a whole was going to run and be patient, saving their tires, or if as a whole they were all going to be aggressive. At least we know one driver that's being aggressive. That's his 25, ripping the top, and that is the faster lane around. But Zach, is that the proper way you want to be going around this track in the early going?
Yeah, in my opinion, that is not the way to do it. You are going to definitely make some good speed there right now after Cody Reed, because it's, first of all, very much clear air up there. There's not a ton of dirty air being generated, and most of it's down low. But where you're going to be hurt is that tire wear condition. You're going to carry a lot more speed up there, a lot more load, and also that top groove is not as rubbered in as you see that the bottom is much darker in color with the rubber on the racetrack. That's going to make those tires wear out much more quickly, but he's looking for track position here already early for the 25.
And drivers have already found themselves with some issues battling for last place, and its drivers have been having issues for the majority of the season. The 12 of Ryan Crowfoot, also going to be the 57 of Brian Fine, and John McAdams, who had a great qualifying run already in pit road, is the 47 and the 57.
That is a tough break already for those drivers, because no caution, that's going to really hurt their chances here tonight. They're going to have to try to get back going, but again, no fast repairs here at the ISRC Truck Series. It's, tough when you get major damage like those guys have received here early in this race. Will require damage, so they're going to be sitting on pit road for a good portion of this race.
And it looked like some issues by that of the 12 machine of Crowfoot. Got in, trying to be aggressive in the back half of the field, got loose, right into that of Brian Fines, and a late entry of John McAdams. McAdams, hate to see him caught up in early issues, especially with a fantastic qualifying run, but that's all he's going to be able to cherish is a great qualifying run. His night might be done. But up front, battling for the lead, it's Ollie Fonseca and Cody Reed. But working on the outside lane, he wants to lead a lap now.
Wow, what a power move he's done to drive up to this position on that outer groove. But here's going to try to do the crossover down the back stretch here, down to turn 3 and 4 on the bottom groove. Can he try to get to the lead? That's going to be what the 25 is looking for here early. And this is an interesting predicament for himself. He was fast in practice there, but just couldn't get his qualifying lap. Maybe feels like he just wants to go up here, get the clean air, and feels like that may be the way to go. But it's going to be tough to see if those tires start to wear out and he pays the price for really driving this hard this early in this run.
You got to be careful not to put yourself in a bad spot on how you're running here tonight, because you burn off those tires, especially with how long this first stage is. We will be having a stage break here at the end of lap 60, so drivers know it could be a long run that these drivers get into. Cody Reed might have been driving this aggressive with the mindset of, we could be seeing an early yellow. I want to gain as many positions as possible, but we never got that early yellow, so he's got to be careful of any issues that move on forward. But Ollie Fonseca in this 24 machine, a fantastic run last week at that of Kentucky. I was talking to him during practice. He wanted to give a huge shout out to his spotter, that of Brandon helping out with some great pit road strategies that put the 24 in position for a third place finish. Wasn't able to interview him, but watch out, Ethan Smith getting bounced to the outside, staying off the outside wall. I gotta say, the middle of this pack, Zach, it is still a cluster and a gaggle of cars that are side by side trying to get everything. They're even 3 wide right now.
Oh, it is a hornet's nest back here. I mean, you got Christopher Norris in the 38 there. He just fell back from his 10th starting position. But Ethan Smith, like you said, he got bounced to the outside by the 98 and Malik Kuntz. And that really upset that double zero machine's balance there and shot him up that track. He's going to have to try to fight back for a little bit more of that track position. But we're seeing it's just everybody going for everything back here in the middle portion of the package. Rochelle now going to stick it in the middle 3 wide here as he's going to try to go forward, as he's got multiple drivers stacked up on him, along with that also Eric Stamp.
It's Stamp gave a little bit of contact, holding steady as the double zero. As you also see behind them, going to be the 39 and Joshua Free. Zachary Peterson side by side is that of 39 and the 96. Into the wall, though, it's Justin Smith, as he's going to get some side damage. And again, these drivers got to be careful, especially being side by side, almost 3 wide on the backstretch. It's not like traditional backstretches, Zach. They've got to be careful. It is constantly, these walls are not straight.
No, not at all. Normally with the tri-ovals, we're used to them not being straight, but this backstretch also has a slight curvature to it, so it can definitely catch you off guard. I've seen plenty of drivers driving down the straightaway here and just easily get into the wall due to that curvature of the wall. So we'll see if many drivers can stay out of that trouble, but it's going to be definitely one they got to watch out for. And I'm super surprised. I know Mark Willie didn't have the greatest qualifying spot, but I figured he would be pushing forward, trying to get a little bit more track position. I think he's playing the game of, the tires are going to wear out. This is a very old surface in the Chicagoland Speedway, so I feel like maybe that is his confidence that he can make passes here as the run continues on.
Some drivers have been moving up quickly as we hop on board the 77. Mark Whitley, one of the favorites last season, challenging for a championship back in season 1. And here in season 4, looking for some magic to happen for himself. He stepped almost dead center in the middle of this field in 18th place, riding in front of Ethan Smith. And Ethan Smith, another very consistent driver that we've watched battle for championships. He's hoping to find himself up front with the being and bang that's happened to this 0-0. Imagine he's wanting to just settle in. And we talked about tires, how to work with them, how to save them, to drive those very aggressive Cody Reed. He is losing the lead, and the lead is starting to get a little hectic. We've got 4 drivers all on top of one another, wanting that top position.
Oh, they're starting to stack up for that lead here, Sam, and it's been very tough for Reed to try to hold on with those tires that he's really probably overheated here to start this race. And Fonseca, he's going to have his teammate Danny Cochran up top there going down in the 1, and that's going to be an advantage for them because these trucks do generate a ton of draft. And also Nick Crawford right there, but also Cedric Hunter kind of coming into the picture too. So these 5 trying to break away, but I think Danny Cochran up into the wall with that dirty air from his teammate Ollie Fonseca.
Saying sorry over the radio. What's that? Danny trying to get aggressive, almost got into that of 25 and before doing his best as the 24 of Ollie Fonseca pulls away. But man, all these drivers up front all have been fighting around one another. I mean, this was a group of drivers who are all battling for the playoffs and trying to go for the championship last season. Not surprised seeing all groups of our top 6, all former playoff drivers.
Yeah, not a surprise one bit at all. I mean, we're definitely having a lot of drivers have, runs that continue.
Oh,
last season
trouble! And it's going to be that of Malik Coates down in the inside, and he's having major issues as he stays off the inside wall, and that is a lucky spot for a driver, and that is probably the cool-off lap that everyone was hoping to have a lot sooner. 17 laps before a first wreck, and driver forced into pit road. Going to be that of Trenton Jump, who has issues for himself.
Yeah, it was those 2 that got into it down the back straightaway, so tough break for Trenton Jump, who finished 2nd here in season number 2 when he was the champion here in season 2 for this truck series. And yeah, just coming to blows there with Malik Kuntz, and it was just slight contact between the 2 that really brought about that incident. And I tell you, it's a tough break for both of them, but luckily for Malik, he doesn't hit anything on the inside. He's going to lose more track position than anything, but I think Trenton, he's the one that took kind of the harder lick on that outside wall, but we'll get to see how that all looks. But man, that's a very close incident between 2 drivers that was just kind of going for the same real estate.
Yes, going for the same real estate as we're waiting for the replay to come up. It gives us time to talk about some of the other drivers. Take that back. We'll talk on that a little bit sooner, but look out for this. We were just talking about the curvature of the backstretch. Well, here it is side by side, and I think Malik, he was holding his lane, but Trent needed to come down. Wasn't clear, and contact was made, sending that to the 68 down below. He was 2 sideways with the field closing in. That's what brought out the yellow, but this is where the incredible save came from the 98. I mean, Zach, at this point, that grass is like glass. You are just sliding and hoping for the best.
Yeah, this is a tough thing to do. I mean, a lot of people would think just lock the brakes down. You do want to try to slow down a good portion with those brakes, but you don't want to lock it down too much because it usually ends up in you sliding straight forward, just like you're on ice on that grass. So good job by Malik there to do a good job of not letting it hit that inside wall. That could have been a race ender for him, but now he's going to have just to reset those tires and get himself back in position. But I think we had some interesting strategy play out here. I think some guys saving some sets of tires here early in this race.
Yeah, and with the fact that Trenton Jump was able to go into pit road and get service done, trying to avoid the wreck, curious on if he's going to be given an EOL penalty to go to the end of the line. I know that he was given a black flag. Curious on if he's going to make a shout out over the radio to get that black flag cleared, or if he'll go to the end of the line. Looks like he is heading to the back and will stop. But a lot of drivers getting repairs done as well as coming into pit road. Few drivers setting up for the end of this stage. Some just taking fuel, others taking tires. Interesting calls, I gotta say, for those that are taking tires right now.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit interesting because they're gonna have a stage here at lap number 60. And if it does go green here, they can make it on fuel now, and you'll be in a good position to get points for that stage if you did take that set of tires. But it does leave you only down to 3 sets for the rest of this race, and with 3 sets only left in pit road, with a large majority of this race to go, it's still over 130 laps. That is a tough predicament to be in, as they would say. So I kind of like the call to save a set of tires here, because this race, it may be caution filled, just like Kentucky last week, and that is where it's going to play into the hands of the drivers who saved that extra set here. So we'll see how it shakes out. It's going to be definitely more, I would say, wild due to this factor of these older tires out front. It could get a little bit mixed up, and we could see that second yellow flag flying very quickly.
We'll talk about the non-yellow contact that happened in the first about 7 laps of this race. Drivers already out. Going to be that of John McAdams and Ryan Fine. Still out on track. Going to be racing is that of Ryan Crawford. Luckily, not too much damage for him to deal with, as we're going to pace for another lap. Gives us time for some shout-outs and some sponsor reads for us. You see them at our top left. It's iRacing iFlag. iRacing iFlag, one of the premier iFlag virtual flag systems out there. There's plenty of those that you can find, but this is the patented iFlag virtual flag system to give you clear indications on what this flag state is on track. If there's a yellow, if you're being told, hey, get out of the way, you've got a blue flag, or many of other clear indications on what is going on, go get yourself your products at iRacing iFlag. Go use our promo code FreakyFast2022 today, as well as there's plenty of other products to check out on their website. As we're getting ready to get rolling, it's going to be Cody Reed, Joshua Altis up front. They did not pit here, Zach, which is an interesting call to see how they're going to run. And as well, a giant scare. Cedric Hunter has just bounced out. Not 100% out. No, he is out of the server. Is the 13.
Yeah, and that's a manual disconnect, so that was no connection issue. So something must be coming up. I know Cedric Hunter is definitely expecting a child, so maybe something has come up in that range. But man, that's tough for him here to start off the night already getting disconnected.
And there's only a few reasons why you should leave, and that would be one of them if if that is what's happening right now. His pace car is off. It is going to be Cody Reed, Joshua Altis, green flag back out in the air for straight out Chicagoland 225, presented by Morecast, and Cody is gone.
Wow, just like that, shot out of a cannon. I tell you, that's the advantage of being able to go when you want to. But right there already, Altis in the 94, squeezing down in front of the 38 of Christopher Norris here. And look at this, down the back straightaway, 3 wide action. It's squeezing. And Danny Cochran and Ali Fonseca right in the middle of all that. They don't want any damage from this, not to hurt those trucks that have been so fast all night.
And here it comes on the outside, 3 wide on the inside, outside, and in the middle. Drivers with fresh tires and a little bit of a scare from Noah Steele, as he's going to have a little bit of a squabble trying to get back on the apron. Driver still 3 wide, almost thinking 4 wide was going to be that of the 8, but luckily they hold steady, or will they? 3 wide, almost 4 wide, and stuck in the middle is going to be the 11. Danny into the wall, and there they go scattering. They somehow stay straight, but everyone panicking. Hard contact, and the admins throw the yellow.
Oh, that was a major incident. That was a little bit of arrow off of the 25 of Cody Reed onto Nick Crawford that put him up in the wall. And from there, everybody trying to miss it. And that just shows you, that is so tough. There's some really good trucks that are just destroyed in this incident right here.
And it, looked to be, that 74 of Nick Crawford. He was trying to make a pass for the lead. That's where the incident came from, and we have got a big one of Danny Cochran, Michael Sheffield, as well as Christopher Norris, all with engine damage and required damage that they have to deal with. We're going to be looking for the replay to give us a little bit of time here, but Zach, that was kind of the thing we were worried about with drivers taking tires, some not taking tires, and that complete change up of the disparity of speed. And that's exactly what happened there. If some drivers trying to get a little bit too aggressive at times and bringing out the yellow.
Yeah, that is so tough to see there for so many drivers. Nowhere to go. Danny Cochran, just had nowhere to go. Christopher Norris also, it just all happened so suddenly. And really, Nick Crawford had really nowhere to go here, as I think we're going to get to see this. It was just, seems like the arrow just playing a factor here, and it just shoves that 74 up into the wall. And look, there comes Danny Cochran. Here comes Christopher Norris, Ali Fonseca in the 24, and just drivers scattering all down the back straightaway trying to make it out of this melee.
It's and then I mean they're all stacked up. This field, this was one of the things we were kind of nervous about with how close speeds were, and with fresh tires, practically full throttle at times. Everyone's going to be on top of one another. So if one wreck happens up front, you get calamity like this, where over 10 drivers in pit road getting damage repair of some sort, and everyone trying to slow down, and some of the favorites with major damage that are going to be out of the fray of trying to go for, a win here tonight. I mean, Danny Cochran, Nick Crawford, Ali Fonseca, all in pit road. John Forbes as well. I mean, these were drivers that qualified in the top 5 with all major damage that could be in pit road for extended time.
Well, this is shooking up everything, Sam. And I tell you, there's a few drivers I know. For example, one of them is Mark Whitley. He got a speeding penalty on that last stop there. Didn't take any tires, got a speeding penalty. He would have been in track position-wise around that incident. I think that's probably the only time you can say, I'm glad I got a speeding penalty, because it took him out of that, front group there that really everything broke down. So this is, like you said, took out a lot of top 5 trucks that were looking very fast to start this race. And now it's going to be wide open again, just like we almost had at Kentucky, where someone may come in here and get a first-time victory. I mean, or we might see some drivers make some major comebacks, but it's just tough to see there to start this off. But that's what you get when you get mixed bags of strategies when it comes to tires and differences in speed, and especially a track where you can almost run wide open. It's going to be very stacked up, and when it's stacked up like that and an incident happens for the lead, it's just going to be melee from there. So tough break for a lot of these drivers.
Yeah, a lot of these drivers, I'm expecting a lot of the boxing ring aspect of our Discord, where drivers kind of discuss how they felt about the races. That is going to be a busy place to be tonight, with drivers voicing their displeasure on how the beginning of this race went. I mean, we're only 25 laps in, already 2 cautions have been made, and again, drivers weren't sure. Was this going to be a caution fest of a race, or were we going to be able to get clean green runs? Drivers weren't sure. Were we going to get the clean run early in the first stage, and then it was going to get chaotic? It seems like we got our answer. It's going to be chaotic in the first, half of this race, and expecting that second half maybe to be a little bit more cleaned up. We could see some more green flag racing.
Yeah, we'll see if it can clean up. It's... I said I felt like there was a possible quick yellow to come right back out after, the mixed bag of strategies, and not what I wanted to see for sure. You like it when it happens in a natural way, but unfortunately that contact there just really upset probably a lot of drivers here in this field, and that's going to really take a lot of their chances out. That they felt like probably this was most likely their chance to get that win, to lock themselves in to his playoffs already early in this season. Now with that, Noah Steele here, after his incident last week of getting involved in that incident with Danny Cochran and Cedric Hunter, he's now took advantage of this and maybe can rebound from running so good at Kentucky to here now at Chicagoland, being in a prime position right up front, along with Joshua Altice, Joshua Kanata, Zachary Peterson. I mean, there's rookies all over the place right here.
Yeah, I mean, watch out for this inside lane. Your top 3 drivers on the inside all have fresh tires and are going to be taking off. It's the outside lane. Watch out. A majority of them are still on those older tires. So watch out. Again, the speed difference is going to be massive. There's still a lot of scatters of drivers with fresh tires, some with old. And we're ready to see how this next restart's going to go, as Noah Steele is off.
Just like that again, that availability to go when you want on the bottom is so strong. But Altice in the 94 makes a big aggressive block in that truck to try to get down in front of that 16 of Kanata. We'll see what he can produce here, but this is where some of the battling's going on. Is the 53 of Stamp into 29 of Logan Brakey, last week's winner from Kentucky, the 2 teammates there trying to move forward. But now it's the 99 of Austin Halsey, Joshua Freed, some drivers that need some good runs right around this group.
Austin Halsey, I think this is the first time in almost a year and a half he's made it to a league race, 2 races in a row. Usually he just comes out for 1 race a season. It's good to see him out there for 2 races, and now going to be outside in the top 10. We'll see how this 99 can roll, as he's seen some drivers starting to stack up. Got to be careful because, again, still a mixed bag of drivers on old tires, some on new, leading in second place. Got to be careful. Joshua Altice still has not pitted, and that is causing a stack up front.
And it is very big stack up for sure, as Altice on those older tires is trying to hold the group back, and it's starting to really compile here. As you can see, Kanata in the 16, he's gotten to the outside wall, major damage on the right side of that truck, actually. So trying to hold position here, but Eric Stamp in the 53 trying to break through here, coming off of turn 2. Is going to have to run down to the inside of Altice as they battle for this. Noah Steele is just driving away from these drivers.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice when you got clean air and you got drivers that are holding back as Altus is going to be shoved into the middle. He is falling backwards, is riding on the back of the 16. Kanata, again, dealing with that right side damage. See how the aerodynamics is going to hurt the 16. We're seeing drivers starting to close in, try to set up on how they're going to make these passes as now getting a better look on the drivers behind. Altus continues to fall backwards, and it's going to cause some issues with still a good amount of the drivers in the middle of this field having fresh tires and those on old.
That it is, Sam. It's definitely still a mixed bag here as this driver's looking for any little bit of space to go forward. Eric Uphold in the 17. He's trying to move forward. He's got that 9 and 6. Zachary Peterson right there. Also got Travis Everett, the newcomer to the league here in the 9 machine. I can tell you, Travis Everett will be one to watch out for too in this league. He's a very talented driver and very good at making the tires last from previous experience watching him. So he's going to be fun to watch here as he's joined the ISRC Truck Series. And now the 5 of Dakota Moniz is trying to follow him through there. So all trying to go forward and make positions, but it's that mixed bag that's making this very much interesting racing.
And gotta say, this rookie class has come in. I wasn't sure on some of the speed we were gonna see, but I gotta give big kudos to that of Kanata as we're seeing some drivers back on the track that Stanley Cochran is so off the pace, and that has got to be feeling demoralizing for last season's champ. Has a little bit of issues. That is the worst place to have a driver having connection issues. That's the 94 of Altus, and everyone started to get worried if the 94 is going to have another issue of blinking as he's falling back in, stuck in the middle, going backwards. It's that 26 of Tyler Holmes that has to back out. Horn, excuse me, that's the back out of that situation.
Yeah, now you have the 91 of Martin Morales right behind the 94 Altis. And these are drivers all trying to find a way around those older set of tires here, but it's just stacking up all over the place. And here comes the 98 of Kuntz, who was involved in the incident with Trenton Jump. He's now driving himself back up into position in the top 15.
Cody Reed involved with that blast incident to bring out the big one so far. Watch out for the 25. He just took fresh tires. He is ripping the bottom this go around, and he is not afraid to dive it down low and get underneath someone. Cody's got to be careful. Doesn't want to cause another wreck as he might sneak in the middle. No, he'll just sit in line. But expect this 25 to make a very daring move here.
A daring move indeed down to the inside. Now going to try to look to the outside of Malik here off of turn number 2, but there's going to be a little bit of a stack up as Tyler Horn and the 96 of Pearson are racing for position here. It's going to stack these 4 trucks up on top of one another, and everybody looking for grip here as he even got in the background Altis in that number 94 machine trying to hold back Baldwin in the 18. You got Cedric Hunter in the 13 who's returned, and he's 3 laps down, so he's trying to make a big run up here to maybe get a lap back somehow.
And that Malik Kuntz almost went for another ride into the grass as he found his bumper, his rear bumper being saved as he backed off, almost came completely down on the 25 as here you see that 13 we were talking about. I love seeing Cedric Hunter trying to make his way forward, and also seeing some other drivers we haven't really talked about that much this season getting their opportunities to start to be picking their moves forward and pressuring, and it's great to see the attacking of some rookies as well as some other drivers and come moving up into this top half of the field.
It is so fun to see, man. This is one of my favorite things about new seasons and just the overall rebranding of a field. I mean, it's really, really fun to see drivers that, you don't know what to expect, and they might start out with some tough runs, and all of a sudden out of nowhere it comes in bunches of speed, and drivers are definitely looking to do that. Is now the 94 to 91 trying to hold on to spots with those older tires, but here comes the 4 Jordan Smeets. You also got Ryan Crowfoot in the 12. He's trying to go forward, so it just shows you taking tires here has really allowed a few of these guys that started way farther back in the field in the 30s to get up here into good positions already before this stage.
Crawford, he was involved with a wreck that got taken out of John McAdams and that of Brian Fines, and now the 12 running here in 17th place, trying to go for one of his best finishes so far in the season. I know for that of Crawford, he's had a tough first 2 weeks of the season, hoping for a little bit of change after being involved with that early wreck, but do want to put on note, our top 3, all teammates from Armadillo Racing. And last week, it was only Logan Brakey who survived the chaos at Kentucky and found himself in a victory lane. Well, now in third, watching his teammate succeeding here in the early portions as we're past halfway for our stage break. And stage break at the end of lap 60.
Yeah, I tell you, it's the Color Tilt Graphics team, or the Armadillos, as they were the Color Tilt Graphics trucks here. They are definitely digging here, so they're having a good day after Logan Brakey's breakthrough. So that was huge for him, but also Austin Halsey up to 4th place for him. Robert Sherwood in the 22, expecting big things out of that rookie this season. He's moved himself up, looking to get into the top 4. So all these incidents there to start this race have really opened up that door again for possibly a first-time winner. And what better way to do it than at the start of the season to take a lot of pressure off a lot of these guys that felt like maybe they'd be fringe for the playoffs.
As we're seeing falling backwards, that's 74, Nick Crawford, who's gotten back out on track after getting all his damage repairs, and some other drivers had to pull it into pit road. Cody Smith in 7 is not able to continue on. His engine has expired. 7 is back into pit road, but that of Dakota Moniz, I mean, talking about rookies and successes that they've been having, this 5 machine has an opportunity to get bonus points. And you look at the history of the ISRC Truck Series, this 5 has been on the back foot basically from day 1. He's only got 1 win in this series. That was back at Talladega in season 1. That felt like the only shining reward you could say this 5 has had, and it's been bad luck everywhere since. Here tonight, 8th place here on lap 41. Gotta be having a little bit of a smirk knowing, hey, I've got fresh rubber. I'm just being patient to move forward.
Great way to start the night for the 5. Like you said, it's just not went his way a lot of times here in the ISRC Truck Series. And, it's good to see him up front here in the top 10, battling for stage points here already on lap 41 in this race. So we'll see if he can continue any progress forward. He's got Bear Cup holding that 17 there right directly ahead of him, and also Kanata. So he's not too far from a top 5 position. I mean, only about a second back from that 99 of Austin Halsey. So if the 5 could go up there and get a top 5, that would be a huge morale victory, I think, for that team. So we'll see what he can produce, but a lot of drivers here starting to cause, breakaway is, I think, those differences on tires. And also there's, plenty of drivers out there with hurt, damaged trucks that are definitely limping around this racetrack, and that's kind of throwing a little bit of a wrench in everything.
Yeah, it really has. As we see here, battling is going to be that of Horn and Schmitz. Yeah, battling with also that of Crowfoot. Just trying to make their presence known here in that top 15. That Ryan Crawford's trying to make this pass over Schmitz, who the 4 starting to fall back, and it makes a little bit of sense when you look at the way that the 4 has been dealing with tire wear issues. Saw it a lot last week at Kentucky, trying to find that little bit of extra oomph on the long run. And other drivers that are back here, kind of surprising. We were just talking about how Mark Whitley was, saved himself out of trouble. This is the pack of drivers that decided to just go with fuel only on trying to make it to our stage break. Not going for the bonus points, thinking big picture for the win.
Yeah, big picture, no doubt indeed for these guys, because they're going to have extra set. They're going to have a lot more choice when it comes down to the end of this race if we get a few yellow flags. So they're going to like those opportunities, but you never know as a driver if those opportunities are going to present themselves, because if we get this one stage break caution and then we go green to the end, that extra advantage of tires is not going to mean too much. So it's always tough as a driver to kind of base yourself off of what you think's going to happen, but you always like to have that extra opportunity to come to pit road if you do have that advantage over the rest of your field. So we're seeing some of the back half of this field with Michael Sheffield in the 1 machine here, about 30th position, 1 position behind his teammate Matt Upbrook. So we're seeing if he can move himself up closer to the field, but it's been wild to start. I don't know if too many of these drivers want to be that close to the field, as they're going to be looking to stay on that lead lap.
Yeah, and the lead lap is directly where you want to find yourself, if possible, as you continue to look around. But 3 wide action for drivers in the middle of the field is that of Tyler Horn sliding right in front of Kyle Rochelle. And then you've got that of Zachary Peterson trying to make some moves, and into contact goes the Peterson as the 26 bouncing off the wall. And I watched Zachary Peterson in a lot of different leagues. That 96, that just seems to be his bad luck of always caught up with issues with other drivers.
Yeah, that was so close there. Tyler Horn just barely grazing the wall and getting tight on the exit, having to lift and turn down from that wall. And Peterson didn't expect that, almost took himself out there. As you can see up front here, Noah still our leader. He's going to pass that number 11 machine of John Forbes. He's going to go a lap down here after dominating at Kentucky last week, getting caught up in an incident. It looks like Forbes is going to be deemed to the same type of race here where there's damage on the nose of that truck.
It's unfortunate to see, but for that 11 John Forbes, he won back at Daytona at the start of the season. So yes, he's having misfortunes, but he's locked into the playoffs as long as he just shows up for races. So he's not thinking that he's completely out of this thing, but obviously not the way that he wanted to start out this season with last week at Kentucky and then here today with some major damage. Drivers that are on the move, though, Cody Reed, one of the drivers that was caught up, again, the quote-unquote win factor that got Cody Reed and Nick Crawford into bringing out the big one for our last yellow. He's up to 7th now. Kind of getting a little bit of help in the draft with a 13 Cedric Hunter who disconnected manually, got back into the race, currently 3 laps down. 13 is just hoping that maybe he can get a couple of laps back in some fashion.
Yeah, he's going to have to hope for something to help him there. I think he's been trying to think about driving up there and getting it back the old-fashioned way, but about 4.3 seconds back from Noah Steele here with them coming to 11 laps to go in this stage is just not going to be very likely to get that done. So I think the 13 is going to have to help or hope for some drivers to, get those lucky dogs and get back on the lead lap, because John Forbes and Trenton Junk right now are the 2 drivers a lap down, along with the 24 Ali Fonseca, who just went a lap down from his damage. So there's trucks piling up on that lap down list. When you're 3 laps down, it makes it that much more tough to get back on that lead lap.
On screen right now, we are watching the battling that's going on for 7th place. We've got Cody Reed in the 25, but as well, now for 8th place, it's Everett and Irizarry battling with one another. The 14 on the inside of Irizarry. Outside is the 9 of Everett. And Irizarry, been watching him on this run. 14's been very trying to be aggressive with fresh rubber, struggling to make any types of moves. Is that of the machine and into pit road. Seems to be issues with 94 of Joshua Altis, who has to come in and get some service done. It might be some of that blinking issues, but also it seemed like he got a little loose out of that turn 4.
Yeah, it's tough to see because he was right up there in the front of the field after that strategy call to not take tires. And it seems like he's had to come to pit road early here, and that's going to really derail his race so far, as he's going to go quickly a lap down and probably about another half a lap. So it's going to be tough for him, and I don't think he'll be in position for the lucky dog. As like you said, he's having some connection issues also. So tough break, but that's just sometimes how it plays out when you're out here racing. But you can see here the 00 Ethan Smith, he's trying to battle with Jonathan Smith here in this 72 machine, as these two still in that older set of tires, about 12 seconds back from the lead, battling for 23rd.
Another surprise pit stop. That's Tyler Horn, who comes in with an unexpected pit stop for himself. Just looks to be fuel only for the 26. Maybe, Zach, we got their numbers wrong. I mean, we're coming down to the end of this run, and drivers hitting pit road. Now, I was expecting them to be totally fine with the timing of the 2 cautions that came up. They could be good on fuel. Maybe they're not, as we are closing in to our stage break. Going to be at the end of lap 60. As we are seeing that of Robert Sherwood on the move and one of the fastest drivers inside of our top 5.
That is, man. He looks super quick right now in this 22 machine. And what I'm thinking is a few of those guys just didn't take fuel. That's really the only thing that could play out in my brain. This reason why they're here, because we're right around that zone of being able to go as far as a full tank. So it makes sense for them to come in there. And I will say Horn did take 2 tires in his stop. So I think that plays out where he may have just took 2 tires and no fuel. So he's definitely hurting now as he had to come to pit road. So Robert Sherwood, though, in his 22, like you said, he's definitely starting to pick up the wick here. And Noah Steele, though, is still running the fastest times of pretty much any driver in that top 5. You got to look outside the top 5 to Cody Reed. Or sorry, not outside the top 5, but yeah, Cody Reed there running still very quick times. But yeah, that 8 machine still very quick.
Very fast is Noah Steele, and we've seen that speed before. The question is, can he survive to make it to the end of this race, as Dakota Moniz trying to hold on as he's got heavy pressure by that of Cody Reed, as well as Everett and also GT Irizarry figuring out how to hound and get by. And really, I think they're all trying to figure out how to get by that 99 of Austin Halsey. As Halsey, what a run for this 99 machine up in the top 5.
That it is. Halsey's just, I mean, it's cool to see him back out there like you were talking about, Sam, you know, because normally it's one race and kind of over for him, but it's been a little bit different here tonight as he's been on the hold on to fifth position here with Moniz right behind him, Reed coming up to 7th here. Also Travis Everett and GT Rosario, those two teammates battling it out right back here also for 8th and 9th. It looks like this is going to be the group where the points switch hands most likely.
Everyone else pretty much in line except for this cluster of drivers. 4 laps to go before this stage is done. It's Noah Steele just trying to run his own laps, and other positions that could change potentially could be 10th place, but it seems like the drivers behind 10th are having their own squabbles and won't be able to catch up. That of Eric Uphold is, you see that of Kanata, Kuntz as well as Baldwin all around one another trying to figure out who is going to be that driver to try to pounce on the 17.
Yeah, they want those points. Points are everything when it comes down to it. If you feel like you're going to be on that edge of making the playoffs, you need to go out there and try to get some stage points early this season, especially when there's big mistakes like we've seen so far where it's taken out multiple drivers in this race and they've been set back, that some of the top contenders. This is your chance to go out there and get bonus points that possibly some of these races it'll be a little bit tougher to do. So looks like Kanata struggling with that damage still as Kuntz is going to go by him. Also Baldwin in the 18, but Uphold, he's going to have to try to uphold that position to hold on to those points because these drivers are coming very quickly.
Certainly look like he's going to be able to hold it up as 2 more laps to go for Noah Steele in the 8 machine. And he has been keeping it pretty steady. That of Sherwood has been closing in slowly but surely, but it does not look at the rate that he is closing in going to be just enough as we're coming up to the white flag of our stage. Top 10 drivers get the bonus points, starting off with the winner getting 10 bonus points. 9 to second place continues to go down by 1 point. And so we get to 10th place where they only get 1 single point. Nobody else gets those bonus points for a stage break. And for that of the 8 machine, a Noah Steele, who made it to our Elite 8 last season, missed out on the Final 4, was kind of one of our underdog drivers. This has got to be feeling good. Switching teams, joining up with the Armadillo team that has championship caliber drivers, and now going to be able to win the stage here at Chicagoland to start things off for race number 3. There goes Noah Steele. We'll wait for the rest of the top 10 to cross the line, but Zach, Noah's got to be feeling fantastic with that run.
Couldn't feel better, I think, for him because you know what? He's continuing the momentum he created in the playoffs last season. I mean, it's just showing that confidence has rolled over. He's joined a very, very strong team that has a champion in it, has last week's winner in it. I mean, that's somebody to bounce good ideas off, and it's shown here because that Color Tilt Graphics truck right there has been fast ever since he's got in.
He's quick, he's feeling good, and that will be your stage. Your top 10 getting those bonus points going to be the 8 of Noah Steele, as well as that of Rob Sherwood. And the 22 will come to a 2nd. Eric Stamp going to be a 3rd. Logan Brakey, winner from last week, going to get in 4th. Austin Halsey, 5th place for the 99. Dakota Moniz is going to come away with 6th. Cody Reed, after coming into pits under that last yellow, he'll climb all the way up to 7th. GT Rosario, 8th. 9th goes to that Travis Everett. And then Barrick Uphold gets our final 1 bonus point here for himself. Expecting drivers to hit pit road. Zach, that now the strategy kind of comes in. Expecting everyone to take 4 tires and fuel, but man, this next restart, expect the chaos to be just as crazy as all the others.
Yeah, I think it's going to pick up even more because, you know, some of these drivers who save that set of tires, they feel like, man, we get up a lot of track position now. We're going to need to try to gain that track position back. So we'll see, I think, some big moves and some drivers trying to go all over the place as you see them all come down the pit road. And I'm going to be interested to hear what Noah Steele sounds like after this run. I mean, he's got to be feeling very, very confident, especially with that incident, I think, taking out a lot of drivers that he would have had to continue with this for this win. This is going to be a very fun into the race for him if he can just somehow put it all together.
As drivers hit pit road, themselves sorted here on this restart. Looking to see if Noah Steele is even in the Discord to get pulled down, and I don't know if we actually do have him, so we might have to pull someone else into the booth, which could be Rob Sherwood, who finished 2nd, and get his thoughts on this run. As we're looking at the field, the people that we could pull in starting to shrink, actually, as I'm looking at our list, but out of pit road, going to be Noah Steele, Rob Sherwood finishing out for themselves. And I think a driver that I'm excited to actually hear what their thoughts are going to be. Kind of different. It's going to be bringing in fifth place driver, that of Cody Reed. I think we're going to pull in and get his thoughts, as Cody was one of the drivers that was really moving all over the place. Certainly a driver that's expecting a lot. As we bring in the driver that moved in and was flying through the field, and then caught up with that incident, and then had to try again to go through the field. We got Cody Reed with us. Cody, it's Sam and Zach. You got us?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, you're starting back in 5th place at this time. We've seen that you've got a fast truck underneath you, but man, how are you feeling after that performance at the stage?
I mean, I feel good, but like, I feel bad for others on that one restart wreck that I kind of caused, I think. I mean, there was really nothing I could do. I know Danny was pretty upset about it, but staying out on those older tires was not a great move. I wasn't really thinking about pitting, and then everyone else did, so I kind of screwed myself there. But running that inside on old tires, it's kind of hard to, you know, like stay down low and not go up towards the wall. And little did I know Nick was flying, I think, on newer tires around the outside, and I really couldn't do anything other than collide with him. And I mean, I feel terrible for everyone that was involved in that. I know John Forbes is involved in that, Danny, Ollie, a lot of people I practice with, you know, and I feel really bad. But my performance-wise, I feel really good. It's like the first time I've ever actually like driven to the front since season 1. I did it on like tire strategy on a stage thing, but I've never like actually passed anyone for the lead before until this race, which is kind of crazy. And I led some laps, which is pretty fun. So I hope to have a shot at the win, maybe. Yeah.
Well, Cody, I tell you, man, I think you're definitely going to have a shot at it. I think you definitely got a fast truck here today. And, you know, I'm looking at your truck just a teeny bit here. Did you catch a little bit of nose damage anywhere through the field there, trying to come back through on those fresher tires?
Not that I know of. I may have, like, clipped someone. But not that I remember. I didn't have any, when I went on pit road, it didn't give me any optional damage, so I think I may be fine. I don't know if that's just like a visual thing or what, but I mean, I feel pretty good driving through the field and everything.
Well, if it's just the visual, we're hoping for the best for you, Cody, as we're going to send you back to your team, but good luck on this restart and the rest of the race.
All right, thank you.
That was Cody Reed from Blackjack Racing in the 25. I mean, Zach, it just seems like, again, he feels bad about it. I don't think he realized that it was, quote-unquote, wind that got the 25 and the 74 in the major damage, but maybe looking at the replay might help him out on looking at that situation in a different light.
Yeah, I understand his feeling of trying to take the blame, but yeah, looking at that, you really can't take the blame. I mean, he's on the older tires. It's hard to hold the bottom, and just like you said, I mean, it was just some aero there that really kind of took them all out with a, you know, unexpected event there.
Well, pace car is off. Stages are done. It's about winning the race at this point. Who's going to lead that final lap? Let's find out as we're back to Green Flag Racing for straight out of Chicagoland. 225 presented by Morecast, and it's already side-by-side for second place as Noah Steele won the stage and pulling away.
Yeah, look at that, already outside there trying to pull away from this group, but he's got his teammate Logan Brakey right behind him. Cody Reed, who we just talked to, up the 3rd. Sherwood back to the 4th position, but GT Rosari in the 14. After such a good run last week at Kentucky, finishing 2nd to Logan Brakey. He's now broken to the top 5 and is really showing out this season here, already early in season 4.
In this track, it's only been ran once so far here in the ISRC Truck Series. GT Rosari finished 4th. He was fast, he was quick, and he actually had one of the fastest laps of that whole entire race. Expecting a lot from the 14, especially as he is moving up through the field. And there's been a lot of movement. Everyone practically inside of our top 8 is up 10 plus positions, except for our top 2, Noah Steele and Cody Reed. But some of the drivers that are up here, GT Rosari up that of finding out 31 positions. He has been cruising. Dakota Moniz up 27. Eric Stamp up 20. You just look at the field as caution comes out. It's going to be Mark Morales spun around, and major contact in the middle of the field coming into turn number 1.
Oh no, and that's some major damage on some of those trucks out there, and I believe I can't tell exactly who caught him, but man, that was a huge hit for them, and I thought it blew the engine, but it looks like I don't see another meatball flag out there for other than Martin Morales for required damage. So actually, I can confirm it. Joshua Kanata in the 16 has required damage here. So must have been that 16 that caught him. But here we get to see it. It's that 91 to 72 of Jonathan Smith making contact on the apron. Yeah, I think he did possibly just sticking the left side tires on that line.
I mean, it looked like he was trying to block, but then just snapped loose on him. He was trying to hold. I know for that of Jonathan Smith, he went on the apron expecting to have space, and that is not what happened. Then Kanata comes in late. Also, Trenton Jump, more carnage for that of the 46. Others bouncing off the wall. And for Martin Morales, somehow still like rolling, but damaged required for that of the 91, as well as for Kanata. And required for both of them, so they're going to be heading into pit road as we take another look at this. I mean, from the outside point of view, maybe there was contact there. I think it might have been contact by the two of them that got the 91 loose.
Yeah, that was very awkward there for sure. I think it might have been the contact that sent the 91 around. It didn't look like he ever got the left sides too close to that line, because sometimes you can get him below there and it will start to slide that truck out from underneath you. But here comes Kanata from his view and just trying to miss it. And it's just too late there to go high. And look, here's Trenton Jump involved in it. And Trenton Jump right there after that, he's going to call it a night and put the truck behind the wall. So big time contenders. There's actually Trenton Jump was the one with the major damage. There's Smoke also. Just big time contenders already knocked out of this race super early. And I can tell you a driver who kind of probably liked this caution was probably Cedric Hunter, because he actually took a wave around. He was on the 45th lap of his run. He would have had to pit pretty soon into this run here. That right there saved them, and now can get pitted and be 2 laps down, trying to get back to 1 here at some point.
We also saw a third driver come in there late, able to slow down in time, but it brushed the outside wall. That was the one of Sheffield that was involved with that wreck. But yeah, I mean, Cedric Hunter obviously likes to have that situation happen, gets now fresh rubber, and he will now be 2 laps down, same as that of Joshua Altus. But there's still a handful of drivers 1 lap down there, still out there on track. So for Cedric Hunter, he's going to need to take another wave around for himself. So this is still a long race, but not over just yet. And Zach, now we get to see drivers attempt another restart, and a few drivers we'll see how they're going to run with fresh rubber to try to climb through this field, as we got a handful of laps there of green. But looking at this field here, Zach, I mean, this is kind of given deja vu of last week in Kentucky, where a lot of the fast drivers get wiped out, and this is looking like an opportune time for another first-time winner here in the ISRC Truck Series.
You couldn't have said it better, Sam. I mean, personally, this is the door being knocked wide open for a lot of drivers here that have not been in positions like this before. So I'm interested to see how they take that opportunity and deal with it, because sometimes you get dealt those opportunities as a driver and you'll kind of crack and fold under the pressure because you're not in that situation a lot. And, you know, we looked at Logan Brakey last week. You know, he's not really in that situation a lot to win races. He had GT Irizarry all over the back bumper. He did not crack or fold there at all in that lead. He showed great mental fortitude, hit his marks, and did exactly everything he needed to do to win. Will we see something similar here tonight? And I tell you, it could be a storybook opening of the season for a few of these drivers that haven't had that success yet. But I tell you what, it's also been a nightmare of a start of a season for a few of these drivers who have had storied success here. And it's just been, you know, really unfortunately caught up in incidents that have took them out of contention for these races. And, you know, it kind of comes down to sometimes, I mean, we talked about it. There was 39 drivers last week. There's 40 drivers here this week. These are giant fields. That means there could be literally incidents anywhere in those 40 trucks. And you could be one of those ones just lurking around the corner, caught up in that messy business.
Drivers were looking at the schedule. Some said, hey, the beginning of this schedule looks like it's a lot more friendlier for some newcomers, but after tonight, it doesn't get any easier. It just gets a lot harder for the field as we're heading into Watkins Glen next week. That's going to be our first road course of the season, and then this is when the big change-ups start to happen. We're heading to Twin Ring Motegi for their oval course, then Darlington Auto Club, then going to be going that of dirt racing at Port Royal. This first half of the season is just going to be a handful of drivers. If you've been having a bad start to the season, you better hope that you can find some magic at some tough tracks that we're heading to next.
Definitely a tough list coming up, man. I mean, Watkins Glen, it's always a road course that is tough for drivers. It's very high speed and technical. And then Twin Green Motegi. I mean, whew, that one's going to be super fun to watch because these drivers probably don't have a lot of experience there. And experience is what gets it done out there a lot of times. And we could see a mixed bag there. But what a night we've had so far. Let's see how they can get back going green here on another restart.
Getting ready for the restart. It's going to be that Noah Steele, Cody Reed, Logan Brakey, Rob Sherwood, GT Rosario, Austin Halsey, Eric Stamp, Dakota Moniz, that of Mark Whitley, and of Everett, our top 10. We're back to Green Flag Racing. Noah Steele's figured out these restarts. The rest of the field still side by side.
Side by side, like you said there, Sam, and they're going to try to all figure it out. We'll see if the aggression levels are the same as they've been throughout the race, or do drivers look to maybe try to make it to the end of this thing and make it in one piece to come out here with a good points night. Right now, I think that that mentality is not going to be had by a lot of these drivers, and you're going to see a lot of them trying to move forward, and this is one of them. This guy right here, I think, is the one you got to circle on your list that you're watching out for. The 77 Mark Whitley didn't take a set of tires till that stage break, and now up in the top 10 finally, and I think he's going to be very much lurking back here, trying to make his way forward into position as they're going 3 wide in front of Sherwood. Eric Stamp in the 99 of Halsey.
And also going to have Eric Stamp on the very bottom, Sherwood in the middle, Halsey on the outside. Eric Stamp's going to fall back and watch the 22 run down in the middle, right in the bottom groove. Running in the middle is going to be Austin Halsey, and now expected, maybe this field can start to calm down, but due to the fact that this truck practically full throttle for these first handful of laps, everyone is gunning for every position they can, as well as trying not to lose the draft. And for that of the lead, Cody Reed, he was leading it earlier. Well, give him the lead back. The 25's rolling as they're wrecking in the middle of the course. Out of turn number 4, it's another major wreck, as it's going to be fun of the 39. Major calamity, as well as Stephen Baldwin going to be involved with this one. And the 18 straight to pit road.
Straight to pit road for him, man. And I tell you what, Baldwin there, that win at the stage at Daytona, it's all went wrong since that has happened for him, and we'll get to see what exactly happens here. Maybe a little bit of contact from Kyle Rochelle, and yes, just a little bit too overzealous, running that 18 into the back of him. He tries to check up for him, then Jonathan Smith there, and that kind of just finishes the whole deal for these drivers as more mayhem ensues here as Joshua Freed. I think he's going to try to miss it, but he's going to be seeing that truck sit right from his Ethan Smith, barely getting by.
Barely gets by, and I was riding on board in a listen in. Freed tried his best to slow down. There's just nowhere to go. Again, a lot of these wrecks, because of how close the field is, if you're in the wrong lane, you're already decided if you're going to be on the outside. There's just nothing you can do about those situations as we get to get a ride along with the 39. And when listening, he lets off right when he sees the smoke, and he kind of lets this thing coast. But again, it happens so fast, and the car drifts up into his lane. There's just nothing he can do at this point. The field practically closed in, and might have been able to duck it down low, but it's just that you need to be perfect on reaction time if you're going to get out of that situation.
Yeah, Ethan Smith, excellent job by him missing that. But if you're Freed, you're right behind Ethan Smith like that. It's harder to see. Ethan Smith had a clear vision ahead. He was able to judge it a lot better probably from that clear vision, not having a truck in front of him, and was able to see the gap that was opening. Freed probably could only really see too much there. As you know, we got the top of the roof shot. You could see a lot more from that angle than from the driver's seat. You're much lower in that seat than at the top of that roof of the truck. So it makes it where, you know, it's a tough situation to miss. And Freed there, unfortunately, it just slid all right up in front of him, and he's going to have his night come to an end as he pulls that truck into pit road.
Joshua Freed, great qualified in 15th tonight. Thought he was going to be able to get some more positions. Not going to happen here this evening, as that, as well as Stephen Baldwin, required damage for the 18 and the 39 on this incident. We'll see how Baldwin wants to react, if he'll just sit in pit road and get those damage repairs and get back out on course. As Freed has called it a night, Trenton Jump has called it a night, as well as John McAdams and Brian Fines, who are caught up in lap 7 incidents for the both of them. As I say that, Stephen Baldwin has parked it. He has left the server. He is done. That is going to be crazy to think here, Zach. Our 5th DNF of the evening. Still some drivers in pit road getting some damage repair for themselves, as Mark Morales is still getting repairs done. Christopher Norris, who sat in pit road for over 20 minutes plus, is back out there on course for the 38 machine, but he is 47 laps down, just hoping to grab any position possible, as he knows points can be so important to make the playoffs, as he was tied in points a couple of times in the playoffs trying to make it to the next round.
Yeah, you got to give it to him for staying out there and trying to salvage something out of the night. You know, he knows there's probably a lot of drivers that have been, DNF'd already that are ahead of him in position, and he's going to try to go out there and get a few more spots. And you got to give him credit because, like you said, he was tied for positions last season. He knows how valuable those points can be coming down to the very end. And, that's a lot of times drivers' feelings is, my race is done. I got 30 minutes probably of damage to repair. I'm just going to call it a night. But sometimes you can gain valuable points that could be the difference between making it in or getting knocked out of those playoffs. So it's one of those tricky situations. You got to let, the frustration, boil out for a little bit and then let your truck get fixed so you can get back out there and start making up some points. So it's a good job on Christopher Norris there. But, while we got this caution, also say I might as well give a good shout out to one of our other sponsors out there, and that is the admin box, folks. You already seen it here tonight. We had that major incident up front here in the field that the admins had to throw a yellow themselves before the yellow came out, and that was a race control call. And if you want something to help you do those race control calls at the push of a button, make sure you go check out the admin box, folks, as it'll help you control everything from your driver's seat. So make sure you head over there, use the discount code FFB/BOXX at purchase, and you can get a discount for your own admin box to have race control at your fingertips.
Gotta say, Zach, you were reading my mind. I was thinking the same exact thing. Maybe admin box deserves to get their shout out, as it's been used twice at the stage break and for that second caution of the night. We've had 5 so far. One of those was our stage break yellow, 4 on-track incidents that have caught up a lot of heavy favorites here this evening. Currently, we started off with 40 drivers that took the track here tonight, our biggest field of the season. We're now down to just that of 26 drivers. Almost half the field is left on the lead lap as we're past halfway. How many more will stay on the lead lap? Let's find out as the drivers get ready. As GT, a little bit of an early jump. Same for those behind as we are back to green flag racing, and Cody Reed leads the way.
Cody Reed, we talked to him after the stage break. He felt, somewhat confident. He felt bad for that first incident, but he's got to put that all outside of his brain. He needs to go out here and try to perform the best he possibly can, because this is his chance here tonight to possibly get into victory lane. But look at the stack up down the back straight. Austin Halsey right in the middle of it in the 99. You have the 77 of Mark Whitley coming into the picture too. There, here comes the 22 of Sherwood, who finished second in the stage. You got a lot of strong contenders here right now trying to get back up into the mix.
And man, gotta say, this top group, such an odd names that we haven't really talked about in the top 10 in a while, and some we haven't talked about in the top 10 in ever. I mean, Austin Halsey, top 3 right now for the 99. He is cruising at this moment. Talked to Austin during the practice. He said his goal is to race majority of this season. He's hoping to make these races, make this season a whole. And I mean, what a way to start out his season. He performed well last week in Kentucky, and here tonight in the top 3, this 99 looking good for an opportunity to maybe go fight for a chance to get in the playoffs. But Mark Whitley staying patient, kept that nose out of trouble, and now battling for 4th.
That Mark Whitley is, man, it's crazy to see after he was running in the 30s there for a moment after speeding on pit road and having the older set tires. He worked his way slowly back up through the drivers that had the older set, and now has those new tires that he's able to go up here and fight with. But also got some other contenders trying to get back up here. Malik Kuntz, after his incident with Trenton Jump early in this race, he's now got back into the top 10 with Dakota Moniz right in front of him. GT Arizari, all of these drivers on different types of, races so far, because it's been all over the place here for drivers. And now even Travis Everett, he's battling back here with the 00. Ethan Smith, who I think is trying to come back after not taking tires early in this race.
Right in on board with the 9 machine, as he's going to have to stay low after the 00 is outside. But for that of Everett, again, you talk about it, Zach, it's the long run where we're expecting this 9 to really perform for himself. Excited to see is he's just outside of the top 10. Got some drivers in front. Not sure how their long run speed's going to look, but having what you could call the villain of last season of the playoffs, Ethan Smith behind the 00. we saw Ethan's incredible way to get out of trouble in that last caution, and on the replay, well, now the 00, who we haven't really talked much about here tonight because he's been just kind of doing a Mark Whitley, staying in the middle of the field, slowly letting the race come to him. He's kept the nose out of trouble. Up to 12th. Ethan might be thinking the long game here instead of trying to push to be up front. Just take it easy. See how the race will come, especially after they get done with their final pit stop of the night, which we still have one more pit stop to go.
And we've seen with Ethan Smith throughout the seasons, he's the driver to watch out for late in these races. I mean, he could be running 15th all race long. And if he's got a clean truck with 20 to go, he's going to be somewhere in position, whether it's strategy or just driver smarts getting back up into position. So we'll see what he can do here later as this race goes on, as he tries to get himself up into that top 10. But behind Ethan Smith in this group here, you also got that 13th Cedric Hunter. He's starting to try to come back up through the field. I know he's 2 laps down, but those drivers that are 1 lap down are starting to thin out in front of him. Only Ali Fonseca at the moment, the 24, is 1 lap down. So right now, Cedric Hunter trying his best to get back in position after getting disconnected. I watched some of the speeds that he was turning late in that stage break. If he can get back on the lead lap, he'll be in position to go for a top 5.
Another driver to watch out for that just made it into the top 15. That's the 20, Jesse Thornton. He's dealing with some right side damage, but came into pit road under the last yellow, took some fresh tires. Same as well for Matt Upbrook back in 18th for the 15 machine. They decided to take tires. They have currently a 15-lap advantage on their tires wise compared to the drivers in front. The question is, will the draft be losing them? Because this 20 trying to still stay hooked up with the 13 of Cedric Hunter's draft to help him get pulled along to gain up this lead pack.
That draft can play a huge factor too. You get such a momentum boost from it down the straightaways. Now through the corners, you do start to feel the effects of that dirty air, taking the downforce away from the nose, not planting those tires on the front of that truck into the ground as hard as they should be. But with that straightaway speed you gain, it is a net gain for that. So Jesse Thornton definitely trying to use that there to get himself back up there. And those new tires are going to play big dividends for him. Also, I could see him driving it easily into the top 10.
Currently right now, that 20 machine, last lap coming across the line now, going to be of a 31.8 second time. That's 1/10 faster than our leader, Jesse Thornton, one of the fastest drivers on track. Watch out as he is caught up to the tail end of this group, as well as the lap down car going to be that of seeing that of Cedric Hunter trying to unlap himself the hard way, which if he can find himself being the one, the second car 1 lap down, that's putting him in a position to fight. If another caution comes out, to try to get another lucky dog and try to get himself back on the lead lap after having come into coming in with a manual disconnect. Not sure exactly why he disconnected. Obviously, it is fixed whatever issue he was having before. But again, started off 3 laps down, now 13, 2 laps down, and fighting to get back down to 1.
Yeah, you have to wonder what caused that disconnect for sure, but he's trying to fight back, and that's what you got to give him credit for. Is now you see Thornick, he's fighting with the 9 of Everett here, trying to move himself forward, but this is the group that's been battling back here around Tyler Dingler. All of this group here, the 19, the 6 of Justin Smith, the 4 Jordan Smeets, all of them just super hard battling, and even Kyle Rochelle, who was involved in that incident there that took out that 18 of Baldwin.
And that 21 dealing with damage, but as well took tires without a scene of Upbrook. So seeing some drivers testing their ways of trying to go forward, as you got to be careful not to get caught up in another wreck if possible. If you're Kyle Rochelle, recognizing, okay, we're caught up in that first wreck, let's not lose more time by causing another incident.
Yeah, you can't get caught up in too many of those incidents for sure, as it'll start to pile up on you. So, there's
Ricky down into contact, able to hold on, but Willie, as he comes back up, almost taking out the 21, as he saw the 6 of Justin Smith, the 4 of Schmeets, and they both were side by side, taking a little bit too much ground from one another. Contact, but somehow we stay green.
Everybody right there on that outer group did such a good job to slide up as far as they possibly could, because they saw Schmeets was coming up the racetrack after getting on the apron. The car just won't turn on that flat, and it was washing up the racetrack. Everybody goes to the wall and somehow makes it through that. I thought for sure we were going to have some type of contact made there between that group.
Great thing that this race stays green, because this chaos is building up. 6th on back is becoming the gaggle of cars, and you've got drivers that are on new tires but heavily damaged that are riding the outside. That's the 2 in the 74, caught up in our second caution of the day. They are riding and just trying to stay out of contact of our lead lap pack. This pack is getting massive here, Zach, and starting to close on top of one another with these old tires. Who's been saving, who's been not? We're starting to see that chaos building up.
That we are, and I tell you, it's this group that's been really stacked up because our top 2 of Reed and Noah Steele, they've driven away here and see if their tires can last for them at this pace, because this group here is definitely staying on top of each other, showing that maybe they're just trying to back these trucks up, use less tires than the group around them. But here comes Cedric Hunter once again in the 13. He is flying at the moment, turning some of the fastest times out there on the racing surface. If he, like we said, if he can get back to 1 lap down here by getting it back the old-fashioned way or some other way, it'll be possible for him to possibly get in a good position late in this race. But the laps are clicking away. He's going to need some type of help.
Yeah, and for the 13, if he can find himself being just 1 lap down, it turns this race from needing 3 cautions to just 2 cautions to get himself back on the lead lap, as long as he is not caught up in those yellows in any fashion. As started to see some other drivers in the top 10. This 98 of Malik Kuntz, we saw him in the grass earlier, caught up in a wreck, and honestly, because he stayed off that inside wall, didn't collect major damage, it's allowed this 98 to stay up front and have an opportunity to battle for a great finish. But for the lead, they're side by side now as Noah Steele, Cody Reed. It's Noah Steele on the inside for the 8, trying to get that lead back from Cody Reed.
I tell you what, these 2 are battling hard, and if they battle too hard, it's going to allow that group behind them just to close that much more. Noah Steele wants to get this done as quick as possible. He goes straight to the bottom lane. Good turn in there late into the corner. Reed way up the racetrack there, as he's going to try to carry this speed on the top side, but Noah Steele going to close the door. But Reed just going to have to wait around and push that 8, as he would have had an opportunity possibly to go low, but I think it would have just been, you know, losing out there anyway. So smart decision on Reed there just to fall in line, as that group behind him is starting to close in with Sherwood in that 22 GT Zari in 4th, and Mark Whitley up to 5th.
Closing that last lap, because of the battling, they lost a total of almost a full half of a second to our our leaders holding that gap. Third place of Sherwood. Sherwood now less than about a second to our leader, about that of a little over 3/4 of a second away from Cody Reed. So we're starting to see the gap start shrinking in. It's going to be a good calculation of who is the fastest out there on track. I mean, based off the last lap, it was Mark Whitley. This go around, though, we'll see how much faster these drivers can be. Mark Whitley is looking quick for the 77, trying to make the pass for 4th place.
That he really is, man. He's going to try to go around the outside here. The 14 of GT Zari, he gets it done out of 2 in such a power move. And I tell you what, this is not, if you're Noah Steele, Cody Reed, and Robert Sherwood here, this is not the truck you want to see driving up to the front. You know how quick that 77 is. He's got multiple wins here in this series, and it is looking like this race as it goes forward is coming to him, as last week we saw him get early damage at Kentucky and take himself out of that, race really with the damage early, and now to have a late grab to this race. He's going to be a definite threat coming down to the checkered flag.
Gotta be patient as well. These drivers have entered into the opening of the fuel run. The drivers can make it from here. But Zach, when do you want to come in? Because they could still go for another about 15 more laps until they run out of fuel. But do you want to be one of the first drivers, or do you want to be one of the later ones to hit pit road?
I feel like you want to wait a decent amount, but you can't wait too long. You got to play it smart. There's always a good middle ground to play. If you come here at lap 101, you're looking at 49 laps green, right on the edge of that window of fuel, but the tires are what's going to be the biggest issue for you trying to make it that far. You're going to feel the brunt of those tires. Yes, you'll get a huge advantage coming down early, get a major jump out in front of the field, but if you get that jump out there and you pit too early, you can also get caught a lap down if a caution quickly comes out. So there's so much to lose and almost so much to gain by pitting early, but it's such a tough call, especially from the driver's seat, trying to make that decision while you're out here trying to make the best laps possible.
Well, there's some drivers in the middle I do want to touch on, because they are starting to run pretty close lap times to our leader. That is going to be the drivers in 16th and 17th place. That's Kyle Tate in the 43, who I want to just touch on for a minute here. He is up 19 positions, started in the last place. And Kyle Tate, he has moved up to 16th. He is running just as fast as the drivers that are on similar tires as him. He is going to be part of that first group that hits pit road. And as well for Tyler Dangler, who was caught up in trying to stay out of trouble. He's been around a lot of the danger zone. He's kept that nose clean. Both drivers caught up to the tail end of this lead pack. They're looking decently quick, but they could be gaining a couple of more positions if they play nicely with one another. As you're seeing here, we're getting to see the drivers battling with one another, but man, it certainly is aggressive driving.
It is aggressive driving all around the racing surface, and they're trying to find the grip that they possibly can. And like you said, Kyle Tate there, great job by him there as we get him on the driver cam here in the 43, just doing a massive job, and the lap times are good. I mean, that last lap time, that was 5 thousandths faster than our leader. And look at this, moving up the surface here, this outer groove, looking like it maybe is making some time for a few of these drivers, and they have found a liking to the grip up there.
It's interesting. I mean, I feel like traditionally these last couple, months, it's been stay low, save those tires. That's going to be the way that you save your tires for the overall going. But as the run continues on, I feel like as a whole entire group, everyone's deciding, all right, outside lane's where we want to be. You're carrying a lot more speed, but the tires, how long will they survive? What are you starting to see here, Zach?
They're wrecking for third here as Robert Sherwood goes around with contact from Mark Whitley.
Cedric Hunter gets contacted by GT, and other drivers making more contact.
It is all over the place. GT there, Cedric Hunter was right behind it, and it all kind of stemmed from the 77 of Mark Whitley. I think he thought he was going to be clear by the time he turned down the racetrack, but the 22 was still there. And it was all a stack up due to Cody Reed, and you're going to get to see this on the instant replay here. I think this 77 thought the 22 was going to be lower down on the racetrack. He turns in, and it just catches the nose of the 22, and from there, he's trying to save it, and I think Sherwood might get a little bit of help here from GT that kind of stacks everything up. And if you're Cedric Hunter, this is not what you wanted to see. You're 2 laps down, had such a fast truck, trying to get back to 1 lap down, and this right here is just going to hurt him even more, as I think he's going to get clipped by this 22. Actually going to miss it.
He gets by the 22, but it's GT later on who's holding the brake and then just releases the brake and comes down into the 13, which Cedric Hunter over the radio and audio wise, voicing his displeasure on the fact that the 14 let off his brakes and kind of clobbered the 13. Don't know if that was intentional, but it does not look good from the standpoint of looking from the aerial view.
Yeah, that's tough right there for Cedric Hunter. You can understand the voicing of displeasure there for sure. The 14's got it locked down and just seems like he must be releasing that brake, trying to get that truck back straight. And the 13 just going by, just gets clipped by it. And from there, the 13, I think, luckily misses, the rest of the field coming through. But yeah, didn't want to hurt those tires like that. It could have been much worse. But wow, big incident here racing for that second, third, fourth, and fifth position.
And now Cedric Hunter is going to have to make a tough decision. Same for a lot of other drivers. Do you come into pit road at this time? Because this race could stay green. If it stays green, none of these drivers are going to come into pit road again unless you're one of the drivers that decides to stay out and you're going to be forced for a green flag pit stop. You're going to need a quick yellow for any help for yourself, as expecting the 13, maybe even the 94 to stay out on track and just risk it to try to get themselves more laps down if another yellow comes out.
I think you got to just risk it at this point because, 2 laps down this late in the race, no real chance for a green flag pit stop after this. These drivers definitely, I think, are going to be looking to risk it here for this wave round.
As drivers hitting pit road, some are staying out, and for us, we haven't done a commercial just yet. We've got less than 50 laps to go. I think this might be our best time and might be one of our only times to take a commercial break. So we are going to take it right now, but don't worry, you won't miss a thing as we're going to be going side by side for the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series. This is season number 4. You're watching race number 3 of the Straight Outta Chicagoland 225 presented by Morecast here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We'll see you on the other side. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, getting these incredible shots of those drivers back to green flag racing on that of lap 111 of 150, as we are watching the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series. As these drivers, they're running hard. Big thanks, though, to the major sponsors that allow these drivers to have this incredible race, that of Race Car Graveyard as well. Big thanks to that of the Laugh Lap. Great internet content on Instagram, as well as going to be our white flag sponsor. It's Larry Art Productions. Thank you to all the sponsors that help ISRC Truck Series put on the best show that they can, as they are doing just that here tonight. It's side by side for second place, as that of Mark Whitley, Cody Reed, trying to figure out how do you get by but not cause carnage, as they're pushing up, almost making it 3 wide for the lead. And we are giving you all the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall. And Zach, oh man, this restart, these drivers getting hot and heavy, realizing they can take it to the end. No more worries about pit stops.
Everything is turned up to an extra notch here for the lead, as Noah Steele is able to hold on for it. And like you said, no green flag pit stops needed. All these drivers know it's down to the end from here, and they know they got to do everything in their power to try to make the most speed. Is now Reed, who's been so fast on the short runs. He's trying to get back to the inside of Steele here, and he's going to try to make something happen. Here comes Mark Whitley. Does he think about making it 3 wide? He does look up there, but the 8 covers it off. Now the 77 backs it up, and here's even the 99 of Halsey. What if he was come out here and get a win? That would be such a storybook, but still crossing back over for the lead.
A lot of front runners caught up in that last wreck that happened at 3rd to 4th place, and now starting to see even more newcomers in the top 10. You look deeper in the field, it's crazy to see, but we're side by side for that of 1st and for 3rd, and holding on is Cody Reed for now, as he's on the outside trying to get built up that momentum. And for Cody, he's got to be thankful that the fact that Mark Whitley and Halsey are side by side, because the 25's getting a little bit of that draft assistance on the straightaways.
That he is getting the help from that machine up ahead. Here comes Mark with a huge run. Does he take advantage of it? Yes, he does. He goes to the inside of the 8 of Noah Steele, and right now he looks to take grasp of this race, because he knows it's only 2 trucks now lying in front of the 77. This is his best opportunities. It's been a quiet night. Hasn't led a lap yet, but I think that lap lead could possibly come here in the last run of the race, and that's the most important time to do it.
And as well, another driver that's been having a quiet night and making their charge forward. That's 6th place runner, Ethan Smith. He's been making a slow move forward. He's kind of been in a similar state. Hasn't been as aggressive as Mark Whitley here in the last 20 laps. But this 0-0, he's moving forward. And then you see the amount of drivers that are rookies making some great shines. I mean, Ryan Crawford, who was caught up in an early wreck on lap 7 that got 2 drivers just DNF from the race. Now the 12's up to 7th, as well as you got Malik Kuntz, who's caught up in a wreck that brought out our first caution. You got Dakota Moniz in 9th place. Matt Albrook, who has been kind of slowly making his charge forward. A lot of big movers and drivers we haven't talked about up inside of the top 10.
Yeah, there is, Sam. It's just been a fantastic night to watch all these different scenarios playing out with these drivers, and Kuntz right here in the 12 of Crowfoot, so close between those two battling for this position, but that's going to give the 5 of Moniz the run out the outside here. He's going to try to make something happen. Here comes Matt Upbrook in the 15 also. He's coming back from starting from 40th tonight, so all types of different storylines here as we close in near 30 laps to go.
I mean, it's crazy to see all of these different scenarios now building up to the end of this race. Again, these drivers can take it to the end if they keep it clean and green. Fuel not going to be an issue. Tires shouldn't be an issue, except for the fact of how much grip do you have to move forward. Do you overcook these tires? Right now, I think we're starting to see that from the 12 of Crawford. He just seems to be struggling to hold that inside lane, as everyone else looks comfortable on the outside passing by him.
Yeah, just holding that 12 machine down to the bottom lane, and he's having to lift. If he doesn't lift, he's going to wash up into him and cause an incident. And luckily for his sake, he finally gets clear there up in front of Matt Upbrook in that 12 machine, but he's got to reset here and try to hope that he didn't do enough damage to those tires. When you get held on that bottom groove, it is very tough not to hurt the tires, because you're just having to really overheat and overwork the tires by not letting that truck want to naturally go out towards the wall. And Crowfoot will have to try to fight back from that. But I think if he knew coming in here tonight he'd be fighting for a top 10 finish after starting 32nd, I think he'd be actually in a very good spirits for sure. Even Dakota Moniz 34th, Matt Obrook 40th. So all these drivers, I think, should be happy with where they're at right now, but they're all going to try to go for more.
And some drivers might be working for a little bit too much. And if a late yellow comes out, these drivers all still have one more set of tires to work with, and that could kind of add a little bit more drama on it. Who would think about taking 2 tires if this wreck, if a wreck happens with 10 to go? Who would think about just taking 4 in those scenarios? Who would be thinking about grabbing as much as they can with just fuel only, as we find ourselves with just that 30 laps to go? Cody Reed leading the way. Noah Steele in second place. I mean, Zach, these are 2 drivers aiming for some of their first or best finishes that they could be asking for.
This is their chance, man. This is where the opportunities lie. When the door gets opened up for you as a driver, you got to take advantage of it. And like I talked about earlier tonight in the race, we saw Logan breaking the 29. I mean, he's right here behind the Austin Halsey. He's in the top 5 in a great run after his win in Kentucky last week. He did not fold or break under that pressure of being up front, and going for that first-time victory. Can Cody Reed or Noah Still be in that same position, and knowing that you have the 77 of Mark Whitley behind you, the driver who's won the most races here. So it is a tough predicament to be in if you're that group. But I tell you what, this is, what they say, pressure makes diamonds, and this is your time to shine for those 2.
As we're riding on board with that of Logan Breakey, our winner from last week, one of the drivers that could say he finally won in this series. And the elation this 29 had, I mean, posting all over social media, we heard the at least kind of relief and energy that he had during his interview last week after he won. This was all for him last week. And now the mindset's got to be going for a championship. And maybe it wasn't the goal at the start of the season, but now getting the win so early, now it's just go for the best finishes you can. Get that, build that consistency. Show that you can be a threat. And that's exactly what this 29 is doing. But here comes Ethan Smith on the move, on the charge, the 00, building up the speed, and will he duck it down low? Looks like he'll stay bump drafting into turn number 3. But Smith, he wants a top 4 finish.
That he does, and I talked about it earlier in this race even. He was outside the top 10 there riding, but when it comes down to the money time, 30 to go, Ethan Smith, if he's got a truck that's clean, he usually finds a way to fight his way forward, and right now going to be fighting for a possible top 5 finish. I think that would be an excellent run for him here tonight, who just hasn't shown the speed that he normally has here, but it's right now where it could end up being a very good ending of the night. Even Malik Kuntz there behind him, he could possibly be in position at top 5 after almost being spun headfirst into the wall in the inside of the infield. This is very, very good for a lot of drivers. Dakota Beniz, Crowfoot, all of them, as they all stack up here right behind last week's winner, Logan Breakey, after he's gotten past Halsey. But Halsey fighting strong, and not much experience in the past few seasons, but he's fighting strong just like he's been here the whole time.
I mean, it is great to see all the drivers stepping up. 25 laps to go. As we're seeing drivers currently watching the great battling from 4th on back. But for the lead, starting to show some interest. Cody Reed, who has been struggling on the long run, stays high. And Noah Steele, Mark Whitley, they close in. Our top 3 all on top of one another. Less than 25 laps to go. And they get almost squeezed there by Noah Steele, trying to put that of Cody Reed into the back bumper of Cody Smith.
Yeah, that was almost a major incident there. We've seen major incidents in the past few weeks up here for the lead, and it was almost one of those again. But here comes the 77 of Mark Whitley. He's seen these 2 cross over each other and battle hard. He's back here licking his chops, knowing this could be his opportunity to try to make a pouncing move here on one of these drivers. But I think Steele, with the run on the south side groove, should be able to get this done. But I tell you what, Cody Reed's not giving up one bit at all. He went down to the apron, but here comes the 8 on the outside.
Putting that on that distance, so maybe he can keep himself close, but just not enough speed to be carrying on. Mark Whitley, better run out of the exit now, side by side for second place. The 77 playing a little bit of possum here tonight, has been away and surviving some of the major wrecks that have happened in the middle of the field. Will put the 77 now up to second place. Noah Steele searching for his first win in the ISRC history books, while Mark Whitley, the most winningest driver in the history books, trying to get another one.
It's a tale of 2 different tapes here. Look at this Mark Whitley with just a super run out of 4. I mean, he just made this pass for the lead look so easy, and just like that, clear to the lead. I mean, he went from 3rd to 1st in 2 laps. Mark Whitley looking to go get himself another win and raise that record up in the books.
Noah Steele, his best finish in his ISRC career was second place last season at Charlotte, one of the last races of the regular season. And for that of the 8, he was finally finding that rhythm that he carried on into the playoffs that took him through the round of 16, through the round of 8, and not able to make to the final 4. But you could just tell there was a flip of the switch. The luck was finally starting to show, but the 8's going to need a miracle because Mark Whitley, fresh air, this 77 doesn't usually let off, and he usually pulls away once he's in this position.
This is where Mark Whitley thrives. We've said, his weakness, it's just when he gets caught back in the middle of the field. That has been his weak point here in this truck series. Anytime he's got back there, the dirty air has played a huge factor. It's kind of really ruined a lot of races for him that he dominated early in the races. But tonight, it's been a completely different shift of that story. It has been the complete opposite. He's thrived back there. He's really worked on that tonight, and now has found the lead late in this race with coming up to less than 20 to go here for him. He is going to be feeling super confident because this is back where Mark Whitley does his best work out front.
Mark Whitley up 16 positions to get into this lead spot from where he qualified. A very unreal, a very odd start. Mark Whitley's career, he is average to qualify in that of 3rd or 4th position, and he continues to find himself running up front, going for these major surges. And for that of the 77, looking good at this time, as gotta say, this is incredible to watch how they're running right now. But Zach, I know there's some great runs that we cannot wait that's going to happen in less than a month. We have ourselves the Daytona 500. For us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, this event is a big one for us, as we'll talk about it more under under that of our caution, because we got a yellow flag. It's Jesse Thornock in the 20 caught up in this one.
Oh, this has changed the whole picture of the whole race right here. Now Noah Steele liking this opportunity because it could have been possibly out of any type of contention there as Mark Whitley's gotten to that lead. But now it's going to come down to pit road, and we've seen Mark Whitley struggle on pit road sometimes late in these races, losing leads. But here we get to see the instant replay. Oh, I think Thorne hit that apron just up the racetrack, and here's Eric Stamp with that checkup. Nowhere to go for him, into the back bumper. And there's also the 43 Kyle B. Tate. Luckily, he makes it through, it seems, as he's going to roll back up the track and catch him. Oh, no.
Gets clipped, gets spun around. And that spin brings out the late yellow, less than 20 laps to go. I mean, Zach, I was hypothetically saying, with 10 laps to go, what are these drivers going to be thinking? It's going to be about 11 to 10 laps to go when we get back to green flag racing.
And I'm about to start biting my fingernails for these guys because it's just turning into similar to last week at Kentucky. I mean, we had, first-time winners up there looking for wins, and Brakey did pull it off late in that race. Now Noah Steele going to be in a similar position. Can he get past this 77 of Whitley? And I tell you who also likes this, Cody Reed. He's been so fast on the short runs, hasn't really been able to keep the long run together for him all night long, but this is going to be one of the shortest runs we have all night. Pit road here is so vital. If you get in and out of your box perfectly, you could come out here with the track position you need, and it's going to be a just straight up dogfight from that position.
Clean entry for that of the 77, 25 clean entry for himself as well for the 8. Now it's on. Who just takes 2 tires? Who's going to be taking all 4? Some already taking off, and for that of Mark Whitley, does not look good for himself because Malik Coots takes 2 tires and takes the lead.
Oh no, and what is up with the 8 machine? That was a long stop for him. He is way in the back of the field here, Sam. That is, you got to feel for Steele there as he's going to come out outside, or really back there in the 10th position.
Well, I'm trying to figure out what exactly happened because I don't believe he overshot his pit stop. It just was an extended time in pit road. Maybe a little bit of damage. He felt like he had time to get fixed up. I'm thinking maybe it was an extent. Maybe he misclicked on just taking 2 tires. I don't know what happened. He was in pit road and holding for himself. I think it was damage, though. He felt like he needed to get repaired.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right about that, Sam. I think he felt like damage repair, and I got to question that just a teeny bit, man, because that's a tough call to make because of how long this race has left. There's not much time to make that up, and I feel like with the track position, you want to keep that here as late as possible in this race, but Mark Whitley there just licking his chops right now because he knows what he has. But I think for Cody Reed, this ain't over for you. You got Malik Kuntz, who might start on the bottom lane. That might give him the advantage starting in 3rd. If he can get past Whitley and get past the 98, this could be Cody Reed's chance to get the victory lane.
So many different chances and opportunities. We were just about to talk about it, though. We're going to do a quick rundown of our Daytona 500 that's coming up. And then hopefully when we get to one to go, we can talk to Malik Kuntz, get his thoughts. But Zach, the Juvenile Research Foundation, this is our second year doing a charity race. Oh, man, I cannot wait for this. February 11th cannot come any sooner.
Dude, it really can, man. This is going to be so awesome. I cannot wait for all of the drivers out there to get to experience this. And not only that, but the money we've raised for the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, up to $673 at the moment. This has been such a special one for me because, you know, it's the second year we've done it now, and, you know, it seems like every year it gets bigger and bigger. So I'm excited to see if we can hit that $1,000 goal we've had. And I'll go ahead and put out in the chat the link there to that charity fundraiser if you're looking to get out there and help support us with that and help us get to that goal of $1,000 there before that February 11th race at 6 p.m. Eastern.
And still, there are positions to be grabbed. $5 minimum of donation. We're taking none of it. All the money that gets sent to us gets automatically sent to that of the foundation, of the Juvenile Diabetes Foundation, Research Foundation. Big thanks. And we're hoping that they can find a cure for that juvenile diabetes so no one deals with it for themselves. Malik Kuntz moves up to the inside. We're going to be pulling him into the waiting room and then up into the booth. Get one question to him. Get his thoughts on this restart because it's going to be an important one. We're bringing in the 98 up into the booth. Malik, it's Sam and Zach. Do you got us?
Yeah.
Well, you're going with 2 tires here on this restart. What made you go for that, and how are you feeling on this restart?
Honestly, I thought more people would take 2. I didn't try it in practice, but I don't think it's going to be that bad, but we'll find out.
That we certainly will. Just want to get your quick thoughts. We'll send you back to your team, and good luck on this restart.
Thank you.
As we get ourselves ready here, it is going to be a quick 13 laps to go once we find ourselves getting back to this restart. And it's still an opportunity for a yellow flag to come out. 2 drivers that want a yellow flag could be Cedric Hunter and Joshua Altus, both 1 lap down, hoping to get back up front. Practically everyone has used up their final set of tires. This is it. It's the straight out of Chicagoland 225 presented by that Morecast. We're green, heading down into turn number 1 for the ISRC Truck Series. Malik Kuntz, 2 tires. He's holding strong, and here comes Cody Reed right on his back bumper. He drifts up, and here we go, Zach, for the lead already.
Oh, for the lead, and Cody Reed tried to get to the outside quarter panel, but that opened the door. Mark Willie in the 77 now side by side with Malik for the lead here. And here comes last week's winner, Logan Brakey. It's all opening up here on the late laps of this race.
Logan Brakey get turned up with Cody Reed. Reed gonna be sent up to the outside wall. He survives. The next big one strikes, and almost everyone behind Mark Whitley gets taken out.
What a crazy scene here as there is so many cars, so many trucks involved in this incident, and there's going to be some upset feelings after this one, folks. Oh man, so many required damage flags. Austin Halsey, Ethan Smith, Malik Kuntz, Zachary Peterson. I mean, it's just all over the place. Cody Reed, Barrett Uphold, Travis Everett. So many drivers with great runs going, now all gone up in smoke.
You see all the madness already happening there. Drivers getting clipped, spun, and Cody is going to have another one of these incidences. That first one, we could give it up to, arrow-wise on why that incident happened. This go around, Cody does not get that help of anything. That was contact to the 98's rear quarter panel, and chaos reigned. But I got to say, the driver that had probably the best view to get out of all that carnage, I don't know how Noah Steele survived that madness. That 8 was having a miracle run getting through that madness for himself.
I'm just shaking my head in disbelief for how he made it through. I mean, I just talked about him taking that damage repair that, was probably going to take any chance away of him winning this race. Now he's going to possibly still be with a shot at it. I mean, he got Cedric Hunter getting his lap back finally for himself after disconnecting early in this race. I mean, this has gotten crazy, folks. And I have nothing to say, but yeah, I mean, Reed there just a little bit impatient possibly. So that's a tough decision, tough call there for him. I'm sure he felt bad for the first one, but this one he might feel a little bit worse for because it ruined a lot of people's races.
You're just going to see Logan Breakey hard contact for himself. But you see the 8 there, Noah Steele. He drives down low, but then Cody Reed overcorrects, survives the bottom inside, and the 8 somehow sees the window opening up. Other drivers slamming on their brakes to get through that chaos. The one driver, though, that had probably the smartest decision of them all, Eric Stamp, out of turn 4, just threw it into the grass to get out of the way.
Well, you know, if they're all wrecking in front of you and the track's clogged, you might as well find the space that they're not, and it was the grass for Eric Stamp, and he gained positions from it. That's the funniest thing, because he was able to carry speed down there. He's up to 3rd, so that was great for him there. It's all just going pear-shaped for a lot of drivers out here tonight as this race is getting more and more wild, and it just seems to be just how things happen here this season. To start off for season 4, it's just been up and down and all over the place for a lot of drivers. And right now, Logan Breakey still somehow into 2nd position with a chance to go get another victory, even though he's got a little bit of damage.
And we do see that of our lap counter freaking out just slightly here. We're hoping that it will get fixed itself once they come across the line, but that wreck was so big, it screwed up our system because there's so many drivers with black flags, drivers with required damage. It is freaking out, but currently right now, we have 10 laps to go. When they come across the line, it will be 9 laps to go. When we're expecting to get back to green flag action, it will be 8 laps to go. We'll give you the counter every time they go by if that does not get fixed up, but Zach, Cody Reed, Malik Kuntz, Nick Crawford once again, that of Ethan Smith, and that of Zachary Peterson, all with required damage. On top of that, Barrick Uphold and that of Travis Everett all had required damage. Uphold, Everett, they've already called it a night. Same for that of Kuntz. They will not be finishing out this race. Added to the graveyard of that of Joshua Kanata, Joshua Freed, Stephen Baldwin, Trenton Jump, John McAdams, and that of Brian Fine. Drivers are not happy, and they're just going to have to watch and see how this race goes. For some of them thought they had a great chance for a win, they're now in the garage.
Well, you talked about the boxing ring, about how it was possibly going to be going down after this race earlier. I think that boxing ring might be going on to 12, maybe 15 rounds tonight. They're going extended time for that because there's going to be some upset folks. We know. I mean, if you tuned into the long run last season, then you got to see these guys are very passionate and they put their feelings and emotions out there to be known when stuff happens, and it's definitely shook things up, I gotta say. And you know, another interesting call, Zachary Peterson in the 96. He comes to pit road. He's got that engine blown. He just drives to the end of pit road, stops, and then comes back out on track to try to complete this race. I hope he knows he is going to get disqualified for that because there is more than 3 laps to go in this race.
Hey, there's more, but what he's thinking is the fact that he continues to stay out. He is allowing himself to at least be ahead of those drivers that already are in pit road that are getting damage repaired, and also ahead of those that have already called it a night. Well, we're back to green flag racing. We're trying to get our ticker set up, but we are now 8 laps to go in this race, and the madness isn't over. Logan Breakey, heavy damage. He's trying to hold off as he's going to be squeezed by that of Noah Steele, Eric Stamp. You would think Logan Breakey would get out of the way for his teammates. He's not. He's forcing it 3 wide, hurting the team as Mark Whitley pulls away.
Oh, man, that is opened the door for Mark Willey just to drive away here. Steele going to have to fight the Stamp. Now the Stamp going to back up the corner. That allows Steele to go for it here. And that 8 machine. Does Noah Steele have anything left in that truck to go get this position from Mark Whitley? He's going to have to give it his all here if he wants this win.
I mean, Noah is the only real driver that does not have damage. He was the other driver besides Mark Whitley that was able to scave away free. Eric Stamp was another one of them, but now is the pressure. It is going to be that of 7 laps to go, coming up to 6 when they cross the line. Mark Whitley trying his best to stay out in front as he continues to hold out for now, but I'm looking at the gap. It is starting to shrink just slightly. Noah Steele is closing in, make it 6 laps to go.
That draft is so powerful. If you're Noah Steele, this is kind of a good position to be in. If you can close it down, you want to get to that outside corner panel, that 77. It's going to be so tough to make the pass on the bottom. If that 77 allows you to get to the quarter panel, you have to stick it on the door of that 77, right on the numbers. And Noah Steele, he's fighting for his first win ever. Mark Whitley's trying to build on his records here for the most wins ever. I think there's going to be one driver that's a good bit more hungry than the one out front. And I think Noah Steele is about to show that as he's closed it down to 2 trucks gap
Across
here.
the line, we are finding ourselves with 5 laps to go, and Noah Steele is right there on the back bumper. He's trying to get the clean air to help himself. He'll pull it up to the outside wall, trying to build the momentum, has the draft, but will he dive it down low or stay high? It looks like Mark Whitley will stay right in the middle, blocking where the 8 wanted to go. We're coming up to 4 laps to go, and they cross the line. Noah Steele's in attack mode, and Mark Whitley is doing his best to defend. Somehow, they keep it straight. 4 laps to go.
And here he goes down to the inside, down into 1. Mark Whitley going to stick it on the door of that 8 machine here. The 8 gets to the white line, but the run is not going to be there here on the exit. The 77 is going to hold him off for one time here out of turn 2. If you're that 8 machine, you got to find a way to get to that outer groove. I think Mark Whitley, though, he's going to be smart about this. He's not going to allow that to happen. He's going to make that truck as wide as possible. He's going to run about a half a groove off the bottom, and here they come. It's going to be 3 laps to go.
3 to go for that of Mark Whitley. Noah Steele, they are trying to figure out who will get the win. The most winningest driver of Mark Whitley, trying to get his 9th win in his ISRC career and get his first win of the season for season 4. Noah Steele trying to get his first win ever. His best win was last season at Charlotte. He has only gotten 1 second place finish. He doesn't want a second for himself coming out of turn number 4. It's going to be 2 laps to go for our top 2.
What a race here for the lead. Noah Steele's going to have to find a little bit more grip. It's so tough. That dirty air is making it that much more hard, and Mark Whitley's being smart. He's opening the corner up. He's making the air a much wider path, and through 1 and 2 there, Mark Whitley opens the gap here as they head down the back straightaway for the penultimate time. Mark Whitley's looking for the white flag.
He's looking for the white flag, and he needs it to come quickly because that 8, he's ripping the middle lane. And will he get the run that he's hoping for at the exit of turn number 4 across the line? It's your Larry Art Productions white flag in the air. Mark Whitley, Noah Steele, who's getting the win? Cody Smith just stays high, and they completely split. Steele gets a better run. Here comes Mark with a crossover move. He's going to be right at the quarter panel. Steele in the more preferred lane as they head down in turn number 4.
Who's going to pull the side draft off down in the 3 and 4? Can Whitley clear, or does Steele have the preferred position? Here we go through the middle of 3 and 4.
Mark's going to have the run. He's got the space. He slides up. Steele dives it down low. Blocking to the apron. Mark Whitley, the scare, but holds on for win number 9.
What a job by Mark Whitley. He was not in the preferred position, but that just shows you what he's made of, the experience in that driver. He is going to go and get the victory. I mean, what a crazy race. Cedric Hunter comes out 5th. I mean, there was just everything going crazy right there. Oh, man, I tell you what, Sam, this season it's going to make me and you age, and Robert also age a good bit.
Wow, across the line, only 26 drivers really made it across the line. There were so many big wrecks, massive collisions, and Mark Whitley kept the nose clean, out of trouble. It just worked out perfectly for himself, and wins here tonight. Congratulations to that 77 team, to Noah Steele. And wow, a lot of different storylines, drivers surviving everywhere. And this unofficial results are going to be wild to look out, but we will see them later on as we get prepared for the post-race show. You get to see the burnouts. We'll see you on the other side with our interviews of 3 different drivers, our top 2, and our spotlight driver. What a race here tonight at that of Chicagoland for straight out of Chicagoland 225, presented by that of Morecast, as the ISRC Truck Series does it again. A fantastic run, and the driver that has the most wins in the career of the ISRC Series continues to build on that. Career win number 9, first win of the season, giving us that of 3 races, 3 different winners. As we bring in our winning driver, we got Mark with us. Mark, congratulations on the win. It's Sam and Zach up at the booth. Man, how are you feeling after that? Because it was a roller coaster for us up at the booth.
Well, it's nice to be able to finally let go of the wheel because I think I had a death grip on it for the last, 8 laps of that race. It was I've run here in another league about a month ago, and I could tell that the strategy was these races tend to get a long green flag run, and if you ran too hard, you'd kill the right front, and then you'd just fall through the field. So my whole goal, even when I started out the back, was just to save the right front and take it easy. And then I think right before the first stage, my spotter was telling me like I was running lap times like 2 to 3 tenths faster than the leader, so I knew my tire management was doing pretty good. We just had to get some track position, and we eventually got back up there, and we we're battling for the lead there, and we got to the lead, and I thought, hey, we can start to sail away, and then a caution came out, and that kind of threw a monkey wrench in the plan. And thankfully we were able to get out second and avoided that whole parking lot that happened off of 4. I know I looked up in my mirror and there was nobody behind me. I knew it was a big wreck, so thankfully we didn't get involved in that. And then after that, it was just about staying in front of Noah. He's been, I think, pretty much the leader of the whole race. He dominated the whole race, so I knew he was fast. And on the last lap, I didn't know where that lap car was going to go. It looked like he was going to stay in the middle, so I went to the outside, and he went up high, and thankfully there was enough room between me and him on the wall, and Noah dove it low, and I just kind of tried to get a high arc and cut it down and get a run off the corner, and it did, and just sent it. I just absolutely sent it into 3 and 4, and it stuck, and able to clear him and come to the start-finish line for the first one of the season. I know feels like a night and day difference from last week. Last week I felt like we were the punching bag of the race and somehow managed 5th. So this one's a pretty good. We don't have a scratch on the car. I don't think, maybe a little scratch on the left rear, but it's pretty good to go ahead and get the first one out of the way for the season.
Yeah, Mark, it's got to feel good, man, after coming back through the field there tonight. And, a tough break there last week at Kentucky. It just seemed like at the point of that race, everything was going wrong. So how do you feel for the momentum heading into Watkins Glen next week?
I feel pretty good. I know I just had another league race 2 nights ago at Watkins Glen, the Xfinity car. So I feel like I got a good enough handle on the track. These trucks are a little bit different, but I feel like we can transfer it over a little bit. Just hopefully carry the momentum, get a second win, and just keep going, and hopefully just keep the winnings up. Maybe start getting on a winning streak before the playoffs this year, and maybe have a little bit better luck.
Yeah, we hope to see that, Mark. And before I let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout-outs.
Big shout out Brantley, Harpoon Design. He not only puts together these awesome paint schemes, he also spots for me. I appreciate the double duty he does for me. Check him out, harpoondesign.com. He's got he does amazing work. He's pretty slammed right now with requests, but he's always, even when he's slammed, he's always takes new ones. So check him out at harpoondesign.com. And if you just want to see, just run something he's already made, he's got a lot of real life recreations on trade and paint. So check him out on there too. And gotta thank Shop Angry Duck. They're your one-stop shop for all your custom racewear apparel, hats, t-shirts, hoodies, anything you can think of apparel-wise. They can make something custom for you with no order limits. And a big shout out to my family. Are always tuning in these broadcaster races. I appreciate it. Means the world to me. Them tuning in, taking time out of their day, just sit there and watch me play a virtual race car around the track. So it's always great seeing them, watch the race. And one final shout out, Driven Motorsports John. I know. If I had bad luck last week, he's had no luck all season. I think all 3 races so far, he's had terminal damage and just been kind of in the real deep thick of the just bad luck. So hopefully he can get it turned around this season. I know he's a lot better driver than the results have shown. So hopefully we can get him up here and maybe get a Driven 1-2 at one point.
We hope to see that happen. That is going to be your winner here this evening, Mark Whitley in the 77 machine. Congratulations on your win, and good luck next week.
Thanks, Sam.
As we go from victory lane, we had to second place. Get the thoughts, the 8 machine, who was just that of a corner away from victory. We got Noah Steele with us. Noah, I mean, tonight you looked on fire, but just was not able to get the win. Man, how are you feeling after the way this race went for yourself?
We're here to shine this season, man. It's last season was a crapshoot, but we're here to show. I mean, six Daytona. We would have had a good finish in Kentucky if we didn't get caught up in a dumb wreck, and then here we dominated the race. So we're here. We're not gonna make the playoffs by just a point this year.
Well, no, I tell you, you're carrying that momentum that you had in the playoffs there during it. You had such a good run during it there to end the season, and you're carrying it over straight into this season. Like you said last week at Kentucky, would have been in a perfect position to get a top 5. I mean, take us through it there at the end because that was a hard fought battle, but also the pit stop there. What caused it to be so long?
We had a mess up on the pit stop. For some reason, it held me for 3 seconds, and I don't know the reason why. Me and Nolan are gonna try to figure it out because he was spotting. Um, but sorry, what was the second half of the question?
Pretty much just take us through that battle because that lap car getting involved there at the end.
I didn't think I had a chance until the lap car. I know Mark wanted to go high, and I was just trying to catch him, so I burned up the stuff. And then once we caught him, it was trying to find a way around. And then I saw an opportunity when the lap car, blocked high, and it was just so last second that I didn't get to set up the corner. Um, Kudos to Mark though, because he drove it into 4. If I was on the inside, I would put my fenders out, and I would have been a lot less clean than he was. Because that first win, man, he's a lot definitely getting into these playoffs. But it was definitely a heartbreaker. But after last season, it's going pretty nice.
I mean, it has been looking great to see you have at least some better luck showing out here. No, we know you've got the speed and you proved it here. 2 out of 3 races that you are someone to watch out for, especially when the playoffs come around. We're heading to the Glen next week. How are you feeling getting ready for our first road course of many this season?
I mean, last year it was my best road course. It's not my strong suit to say the least, but if we can just keep it clean and just keep the wheels on it, we'll be fine. It won't be our best race of the season. It won't be our worst, but we'll hopefully just stay clean, stay away from Cody, and I think we'll be all right.
That seems like a plan. And before I let you go, Noah, the floor is now yours for any of your shutouts.
I want to thank the team. They picked me up in the off season. It's free agent. Eric Stamp, Logan Breakey, Jump. They're all good guys. We get along really well. Race clean. They're probably the cleanest group in the garage. I want to shout out to my grandpa. He watches every race that he can. He's a big supporter. I wouldn't have gotten into racing without him. And y'all put on an awesome show. I try to watch the races when I have a good race. When I have a bad race, you don't want to see it. But no, but thank y'all for putting this show on, and thank everyone for their support.
Well, it helps when you guys put on a great show like you did here tonight. There late. That's going to be the 8 machine of Noah Steele. Congratulations on a second place finish, and good luck resting up for next week as we head to the Glen.
Thanks, boss. Have a good one.
As we go from second place, we go to our spotlight driver. We had plenty of drivers we were thinking about bringing up, but we had to go with the rookie who came through with some of the biggest moves of the night and was the biggest mover of the night. We got Kyle Tate with us. Kyle, it's Sam and Zach up at the booth. Congratulations on that of a 6th place finish. But man, how was this race from your point of view?
I don't think I had any business finishing that high to begin with. I was caught up in that wreck before the big one, the little fender bender running around P18. They just checked up in front of me. I had about a minute of damage. And from there, I was running P26 and thinking, I don't have a prayer. I still had a set of tires on the truck. So I was hoping for another late caution there. And yeah, somehow ended up getting all those positions back because the entire field wrecked in front of me and I avoided it.
Hey, you did, Kyle, man. Congrats on that. That was some wild stuff we've seen there for sure. But a good finish here tonight. We head to Watkins Glen next week for some road course action. How you feel heading there?
I love the Glen, man. It's my favorite track on the circuit, and I've never run the trucks there, and I've never run the boot in the trucks, especially. So I got some practice to do this week. But man, I love road courses, and we'll see if we can pull one out.
I mean, Kyle, you're part of a massive class of rookies that came into this series for this season, and it's good to see you performing as well as you did here tonight with the survival factor. But man, it's been a lot of wrecks these last 2 weeks coming into tonight. How are you feeling personally knowing this field? We got up to 40 trucks starting out here tonight. How are you feeling going into the rest of the season, knowing that this schedule is just going to get tougher from here?
Well, I just hope it gets a little easier after the first 2 weeks. I got caught up in that last lap wreck at Daytona after hanging out around the back. I think I was running around P13 or 14 and just ended up getting caught up in 3 and 4 there. And then last week, ended up getting wrecked by my teammate when Jordan Schmeets on lap 9 got into the wall and everybody checked up, and I ended up getting into the guy behind him. And so it's just been a rough 2 weeks. I was off pace all last week because that early wreck and had the front end damage. So being a rookie, you got to earn your stripes in this league. These guys race hard, they race close, and they don't give you anything, especially for those guys with the theoretical yellow stripes on their cars for being a rookie. So, just doing the best I can out there and trying to get good finishes for my team, and had to carry the torch today because, Josh Kanata in the dash for the cash there, he ended up wrecking out early and just tried to get a good finish for Revline.
Well, Kyle, congratulations again on a 7th place finish here tonight. And before we let you go, the floor is yours for any other shout outs.
Yeah, man, just want to shout out to my team. We practiced hard this afternoon with Jordan Schmeets and Ryan Crowfoot. I know Crowfoot's had a rough run the first 2 weeks as well. So, and Kanata, of course, you guys have talked to him a couple of times. It's been awesome to be 4 rookies in this league and really learn the ropes. So shout out to Revline Racing and the guys over there, man. They're really working hard.
Well, that is going to be the 43 machine of Kyle Tate. Congratulations again, and good luck heading to the Glen next week.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
As we go from our spotlight driver, we get ourselves prepared to look at the otherworldly, absolute chaotic, the unknowns of our unofficial results, because this race had so many massive wrecks that started up front. Only a handful of drivers that started and qualified in the top 10 finished in the top 10. And one of those was going to be Noah Steele as well as Cedric Hunter. But both those drivers, in some fashions, maybe shouldn't even have been up here. But the driver that got the win was the 77 of Mark Whitley in first place. Noah Steele coming away with second after sliding and slipping his way through the last big one. Eric Stamp comes away third. Logan Brakey gets fourth. Cedric Hunter, who was 3 laps down at one moment, almost was our spotlight driver to interview. He comes away with fifth. Justin Smith, who was caught up in a massive wreck earlier, comes away with 6th. Kyle Tate survives. He comes away with 7th. Rob Sherwood, who was 2 laps down at one moment, comes away with 8th. Tyler Horn, who was caught up in a wreck, he gets 9th. And then Michael Sheffield, caught up in a wreck also. He comes away with 10th. I mean, Zach, you look through the field, I don't think there's a single driver besides maybe Mark that wasn't caught up in a wreck at some point.
Yeah, you reading the results, I was shaking my head because I was like in disbelief of everything I'm seeing. I mean, as you see the rest of the order, I mean, there's just filled with guys that were involved in major incidents. I mean, we seen, you go to Daytona, you expect to see the big one. We seen the big one here tonight in Chicagoland, and possibly twice. So it was mayhem for sure, but it's just how this truck series is, man. We've seen it through the first 3 seasons, and season 4 is just continuing to add on to the blockbuster list of just craziness that happens here on Monday nights. I think there's just a full moon or something every night we come out here.
I mean, there is a lot of stuff that's going crazy. We finally got a report from that of Cedric Hunter about what happened. Turns out his dog came over, hit his mouse, that then somehow closed his iRacing, which then made him be in pit road. That was the exact reason why he got kicked out with Zach. That is the most unlikely thing to happen, because there has to be a lot of perfect clicks to make sure you get knocked out of an iRacing server.
That is very bizarre. That is probably a 0.0% chance. I mean, that is you got to know that's when the night is against you. But I mean, he came back for 5th, so I guess it all came back around. But he definitely had to get some help with some major incidents out there to do that. So I think next week he needs to make sure the dog is watched for mouses. Maybe we need to keep the mouses tied down or something, because I know he's in VR, so he couldn't see it happening. So it was definitely a surprise for him, I'm sure. But man, I just gotta say, this race was a surprise in general. I mean, Mark Whitley winning it, if you would have said that coming out of tonight, I think you wouldn't be too surprised. But the way he got there, I think, was probably the most surprising thing.
Yeah, it certainly is. And with some of the massive wrecks, some of the big favorites have been caught up in a lot of wrecks in these first 3 weeks. I mean, Zach, we might see a different, some of these favorites that we've seen in the past 3 seasons. They're really digging a bigger and bigger hole for some of them. They're going to need some perfection moving forward because, like I said, these tracks don't get any easier. If anything, they get harder from this point on, meaning there could be a lot more big wrecks with how big this field was here this evening. Oh man, it is only going to get tougher. But for us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, for us, we're hoping things get maybe a little bit more calmed down on the racing side of things, but it really doesn't. Tomorrow night, drivers got to get themselves prepared and ready. And I hope you are, Zach, because you're going to be racing tomorrow night. It is Bristol for the Full Send Racing Series. Then we get ourselves 2 sets of road courses. For Wicked, they're going to Watkins Glen. For Thursday, for Stars and Stripes, they're heading to Sonoma. And this is going to be, with ISRC starting up on the right foot, a great finish and some more great racing we're expecting.
That it is, man. We got 2 road courses coming up this week. We got a road course coming back for these guys. And I think they said the boot is what they're running too. So I have to get confirmation on that. But yeah, adding the boot version of Watkins Glen for these guys next week, you're going to want to tune in for that. There's not a lot of guys, I think, well-versed in that. Everybody's used to, the high speed, limited corner Watkins Glen track. Nah, that's not going to happen. You're going to have elevation changes and very sweeping corners with some very tight and twisty corners also added in that boot. And it's going to make, I think, for an interesting race nonetheless to say. I think it's going to change up how Watkins Glen runs overall, and these drivers are going to have a tough time dealing with it. But, yeah, man, we got a great week of it. I'm nervous for tomorrow night also because I'm going to be out in the field. And then the other 2 nights, we got some road course action. So we got a good week coming up, and then the next week also right after that.
So much great racing action and all of it here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you can be notified and hit that bell notification so you can be notified when our streams are live or when other content comes out. As if you haven't watched it already, like we said, the long run, giving you insight of how that of the season 3 playoffs went with behind the scenes. You got to understand why these drivers race as hard as they do and kind of put everything on their sleeves. And as well, go check out Parts and Pieces. We covered the 24 hours for that of Category 5 esports who found themselves winning their Daytona 24 hours, but there was lots of good conversations, lots of good talking points. Thank you to everyone that was watching and joining in the conversation through Saturday to Sunday for those 24 hours of Daytona. But man, cannot believe it. We are back to our normal schedule. Thought tonight might have been rough for us up at the booth. I think it might have been harder for the drivers themselves, but more great coverage to be here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Zach Hall, for Robert Moyer running productions in the background, and everyone else that helps out here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Thank you for joining. I mean, go take a deep breath. Go get ready. More racing coverage. Tomorrow night, it's the Full Send Racing Series. It's trucks at Bristol. How much carnage will they bring? Well, to find out, we'll see you on our next broadcast.